Yeah,
I'm
same.
about you.
You also can. I've found the dub.
You mean Max, aka HBO Max, because they renamed it again because they rebranded it and it was dumb and stupid, and so they went, "Oops." But no, I can't
Like,
add
it
you on
is
a
still
Saturday night 'cause I
Twitter.
work
It
Saturdays
will
usually.
always be Twitter. Let's go, dude. That's so awesome, dude.
Nice.
It's like
Yeah.
you got nothing.
Yeah, it's
there.
like you don't need a mic on OBS. Why would you
I
want
like
to
the
pick up
fact that
your
I like the
audio?
fact that we are live trying to tech solve this.
Well, I wouldn't have. I mean, I guess I could have known before we were live, but
Listen, Sean's my goat. Don't harass him.
it's cool. It's cool. Don't worry. I mean, let me get the link out. And in the meantime, yeah. What was it, Michael? It wasn't Gundam that did it. It was something else that we watched where you were like, I usually watch this dub.
No, I think it was like we got to the end and I was like, I don't remember which show specifically was the one.
There was a show.
Oh, it was To Be Hero.
Yeah, which is
The fact that you watched
feels...
To Be Hero not dubbed feels wrong.
I watch it dubbed.
I think.
Default for me was sub, so I watch it subbed.
That show hurts my brain.
For all I know, we'll talk. We'll talk. Bless you. We'll talk about it at the very end of the podcast, as
We
is
will
fitting.
talk about it at the very end.
Yeah, it's a reward for us. We have to work our way through everything else to talk about To Be Hero.
It's so nice that that's the thing that we get to close on.
Mm-hmm. Ordinary person.
If I had how many ordinary persons we have this season, I would have 2.
Just an ordinary, regular guy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So fun fact, we're not. I'm gonna tell this story while I get the links out. We're not allowed to like have any earbuds or anything in at work, and you're not allowed to like obviously be out on your phone.
No, because people would never do that. Of course.
Yeah.
Not.
I was on my phone for 2 whole hours, separately, like for 2 1-hour blocks. I was on my phone while working, and not a single one of my managers noticed it. I know this because after I was done the second time, I went to my manager. I went, "Did you notice, by the way, that I was on my phone for an hour straight?" And they went, "What?"
Oh, no.
And I went, "Yeah." They're like, "Why?" And they're like, I was like, "Oh, I had to watch 2 people graduate. I had to watch 2 people get additional degrees." That's right. I'm using my platform right now to call out West Virginia University. Hey, West Virginia University, fucking put closed captioning on your stream for graduation. What the fuck? Just put the auto-generated captions on. That's good enough. I'll understand the important things. Sure, it'll spell
That's
names
okay.
wrong, but
That's okay. I wish I could go back and watch the stream for my graduation from Davenport because they just didn't say the right name. And I'd be like, "Well, John, you have this super long last name.
It is a pretty long last name."
That's not what they got wrong.
they called you.
That's not the part.
They
that's
called
not
you
the part They
Dash.
fucked up, and that's the issue I had.
They got your
It's
last name
because-
right.
I didn't even hear the last name because my
You
brain was
just
so
heard the-
fried.
You heard-
So
you heard the
fucking
first name, you're like,
story
"Bruh."
time. I've done this twice now. I watched twice because I have 2 fancy pieces of paper. They're back there. One matters,
Yeah.
one doesn't. Sorry, one matters, one doesn't. The second time, I get my nursing degree. Big moment, you know. It's like I can finally just focus on the NCLEX and I'm done with school and like I can start my career. Yippee! And I'm waiting in line, and they give you a little card, little card that has your information on it, and you hand it to the guy, and then he says your name, and then you go, jerk off on your phone for another hour and a half while they have like 6 more speakers you don't fucking care about.
What could you have possibly said?
Fucking, I sit up there. I'm like, all right, I wrote it very clearly. If it's not even close, at least it'll be fine. And there's a person in front of me I don't recognize, right?
Call you Johan?
Because you sit generally around the same people you know from like your class and stuff. And so I just hear Jordan, and then an attempt at a last name. There was a definitive like 2-second pause where you could tell he went, "That's not the right name." Yeah, fuck it, we're gonna go with it. Like, didn't correct himself, didn't do anything, did pretty okay in the last name, But I literally like I stopped for a second because I had to go. Is that Jordan? Am I supposed to go? Yeah. So that was my experience. Very cool, very awesome. I paid tens of thousands of dollars to get my name said wrong in the moment that actually matters.
God, if
But,
I
no,
was, if I didn't have to
I was
bring
a little
up
bit,
photos,
I was tempted to wait until they said my actual name. I was tempted to just sit there and wait and hold the line, be like, no, do it again, try again, try again.
that'd be fair.
The last name I don't care. The last name I don't care. I understand that. My
Yeah.
last name is Van Rickenham. It is 12 letters. It's a very weird spelling because it's Belgium. Sure. If you don't get the first name right, that's a fucking issue.
Yeah, it would be terrible for someone to not have your name correct on a stream for like extended period of time. Like when everybody else has their real names, it'd be silly to have like your name listed as something else, and then instead of fixing it, you would just cross it out and put the real name over it.
Yeah, but
That'd
no,
be
Sean,
silly.
that was for fun. That was for the sake of comedy. That was
No,
fun.
it wasn't. That was because I was lazy.
Yeah, I know what I said.
No, but it was funny. Like,
True.
Even though the original intent was that you didn't feel like it.
I just realized we didn't have a One Piece chapter this week. I just realized.
It gives me more time to not catch up.
I just realized right now, as I was like, I read through my things this week. Not all of them. I read through a good chunk of my things this week, and I did not. I did not indeed read a One Piece chapter.
That's okay. They did start animating the what you call it arc,
Flashback.
Kuma backstory, and yeah, I saw a clip on Twitter and I went, oh no, I forgot about this.
Hey, did
It's so peak.
did everybody read Blue
It's
Box
so
this week?
bad.
No. I have
That would
not.
require.
I've
Fuck.
two
Oh, wait, I
chapters
did.
yet.
Yeah, I did. I did.
I'm like 3 chapters.
So I
Fuck,
thought you
guys.
said. I thought you said Blue Lock. I
No.
read Blue Box, Sean.
John,
I read Blue Lock.
John,
Blue Lock this week
I
was
got
great.
you.
John, I gotta
I
know.
got you.
With try not to spoil. I'm gonna try not to spoil anything for these two. Do you think they show it next week, or are we just skipping past? Cause they're gonna, right?
No,
Cut-
they're
but they are,
good-
though.
they're
They
good
are-
Christian,
but they're
a good
gonna.
Christian or Buddhist or religious household. It'll be fine.
I don't know, John. That last panel.
No,
Mm.
no, they're going to have some nice quality
All right, well-
conversation. and...
Well, you guys have spoiled it.
Well, you don't know who we're talking. It could be anybody. There's so many
Shit, I
couples.
fucking
There's so many
wondered.
couples in Blue Box.
Listen, Kyo's getting laid next week, Mason. I'm a spoil.
Anyway, I guess I have 3
It's a
chapters.
crazy-
Bro,
it's a
that dude
crazy
needs
cut.
it. He fucking needs it.
He fumbled. He
He didn't fumble.
We call
Yeah,
it
he
the
did.
consequences.
Bro,
the
she ran it
consequences
down.
of-
I'm sorry, she ran it down. That's not on him.
It's
All I'm
both.
saying,
Hey,
He could have
communication.
said
Hey,
anything.
communication major. It's both their faults.
Honestly, fair.
I'm just saying, Kyo fumbled.
The bag has
Uh,
been brought.
Speaking of
The
talking
bag has
about
been
speaking
lost.
about talking about sex, you should be reading Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi. Because this villain absolutely wants to fuck the pro tag, and it's so, dude. I've never seen a hornier villain for the
Sean,
main
that's the image
character.
you sent me, right? That was the image you sent me? That I responded with a gif of Hisoka? Is that same
Oh,
character?
that's
I
him.
responded with
That
the gif
is.
of
Hold on.
Hisoka's
I will.
always
Let me send
telling.
that. I will send that in chat real quick. Because dude, this fucking villain. I sent you a photo of him when he first appeared.
This fucking guy.
This is has nothing to do with his interaction with the main character. This is him after brutally almost murdering a character in one of the most recent chapters.
Yo, he got the Sharingan though.
He is a
You got the
psychopath.
Exorcist
He got the
style.
Mangekyo Sharingan.
I cannot express enough. Hold on, I cannot express enough how down bad this villain is for the main character. Like he
What about me in Expedition 33?
fair. God, let me get you both of these because both of these are really good screenshots. I cannot wait. In my head I've been like, okay, Ultimate Exorcist ends after this arc because like he's the big bad. And I was just browsing the Reddit and someone made a mention, I don't know if this is right, but someone said that this villain is one of 3 of the Demon Kings, which doesn't sound right in my head. I don't think that's how they've described this, but if that's true, this manga's got legs and I can't wait. Here's some more of him being absolutely down bad for the main character.
This is just Hisoka, but with bigger teeth.
Mhm.
And a Sharingan. Don't forget the Sharingan, Michael.
Also, we are currently in an arc where we right now have 3 very important fights going on. It's pretty rad. One of them might be ending already because this chapter starts with this fight and then cuts to one of the other guys and just is absolutely bodying one of the demons. I don't know how that fight's gonna go any further. But yeah, you should read that manga because it's dope and it's rad. I don't
You
have.
guys should play Claire Obscure Expedition 33. They
If
came
I
out
had
late.
time for an
I'll
RPG,
play it eventually.
Eventually.
I would be playing so many
You
RPGs.
ever want your turn-based RPGs to have QuickTime events like Dark Souls?
I'm actually not sure
so
how
Sea of Stars?
I'm actually not sure
No,
how
more
I'm
like
gonna feel
the
about.
Mario and Luigi series.
True.
Well, that's just turn-based RPGs. People, okay, listen. People say it's Mario and Luigi. That's literally fucking Super Mario RPG.
Yeah,
that was the
'cause
first one.
I mean, yeah,
yeah, because it's
but that wasn't a series. That was one game. The other one got like 5 games or
they
something.
took
I
they
don't know.
took the mechanics
Yeah,
for both of
Super
them.
Mario RPG became Paper Mario.
I mean, both.
Mario RPG is series.
I mean, both of them took inspiration from RPG because they're both RPGs. We
Either way,
call those action commands.
yeah. The game is peak. It's sick. I always look at how much I played, and I think I played like 25 hours, and I feel like I'm pretty far in the game. And then I look at like other people's playtime, and it says like 68 hours, and like the more recent achievement is like reached X level, and I'm just like, how far does this go? Like, because it feels like you're constantly reaching like close to a climax, but it doesn't feel like you're quite there, and it's really awkward, but it's really great. And apparently the story's peak, and it's good right now. I'm wondering when it gets to become like insane. 'Cause it seems like it does based off a lot of reviews and stuff that are like, hey, don't spoil the game for yourself. But yeah, cast is good. SKA is GOAT. That's all you need to know. He's the best. But yeah, that game's good.
Yeah,
Would
I'm
recommend.
gonna real quick. I'm gonna shout out what, in my opinion, what are like my 3 favorite mangas to read right now. And if anyone has anything else they want to talk about, you're free to do that. But then we're gonna start. Simply because I think these are the 3 that I feel most like I need to always bring up now. Ultimate Exorcist, because it's not being talked about comparatively to other things in Jump. Michael and Mason will understand this immediately. Showa Shoten, because if you're not reading Showa Shoten, you are missing out on what might be one of the
You should be reading
greatest
Showa
mangas of
Shoten.
You
all
should be
time.
reading Shoten.
I'm missing out on one of the greatest moments.
You
of all
are.
time.
It's
and-
so good, dude.
And then Michael understands this. Akana Banashi, because oh my fucking god.
Okay, Fada, she's so fucking good, dude.
Michael, have you read the most recent chapters, or are you behind
No.
now? Oh my god.
I am like 2 behind, or I'm as far behind as I.
Have you
Yeah,
have you gotten to the part where a character gives her she has 2 challenges actively going right now? Do you know what both of them are, or do you only know the one?
I think I only know the.
The second challenge she gets is fucking insane. And it's gonna make this next like 6 chapters incredible. But yeah. Those are like my 3 for sure. Oh, 4, because Rory Dragon. You should also be reading Rory Dragon.
You should also be reading Kagurabachi. That manga's peak.
It is very good. There's lots of really
Guys,
good
there's
things
so
right
many
now.
manga.
I know.
You should just read like all the things.
Marriage Toxin.
Just read everything, guys.
Jump's just really good right
Oh,
now.
did I tell you guys I got a Kindle for Nurses Week for work?
Oh.
So I can start
Ooh,
reading
nice.
books. I can start reading
Ooh.
books. The problem is light novels aren't. There's some now on Amazon, but like there's not a ton of them. But I have to like rebuy stuff for Amazon. Not that I would ever read at work because I'm a nurse and I work for 12 hours straight without sleeping or sitting down because that's what America demands. But yeah, I have a Kindle now. It's cool.
I need to get back to reading actual
Thanks, U of M
books.
Hospitals, Central Staffing Resource. Thank you for showing appreciation. It actually is really cool. Like, it actually is appreciative. It makes you feel like, hey, they actually do like care somewhat about us. Yippee!
Yay. Yeah, I need to get back to
that's the
reading.
problem.
Need to get back to reading actual books because I have smut to read.
Same.
So, side note about that, because I share an Amazon account with my parents, which we talked about before, because I got the student discount. Certain books synced to my Kindle that my mother reads
Oh,
That's
hell
all I'll
yeah.
say.
Let's go.
Trust my mom. Good taste.
But how far behind am I on this?
um,
I'm actually less behind
Also-
than I thought I was on Dogs Red.
I need
It's
to
been
read.
Dogs Red
7
are, like,
months. It's been 7 months since I read a Dogs Red chapter.
That's not that bad.
It's-
That's only like 8
I'm-
chapters.
That's
Yeah,
10
exactly.
chapters.
I'm like
November-
2 chapters behind, I think.
I need to read the most recent one.
Um,
I
I
am
started
behind on my
reading-
manga right now.
I did a thing and I started reading comics, like actual American comics.
Nice.
I started reading the new Ultimate Universe for Marvel Comics. That shit's rad as hell. It's so good. It just has some really, really good art and some very interesting story direction. Reed Richards has always been evil, and you can't tell me otherwise. But he's actually fucked in that. But yeah, comics
Okay.
really good right now.
Just because you brought this up, Mason. Michael knows this because we spent part of yesterday talking about Digimon. It came up. We got on a small tangent about Kenji Watanabe, who's one of the artists for Digimon, particularly the guy for Tamers. He has some incredibly sick fucking art. That's what the profile picture is.
Okay.
He redid one of my favorite Digimon scenes of all time in art. Here, let me get it for you quick. Where is it? I know I have it saved here. There it is. His art's so fucking sick. But he is super inspired by he is super
So
inspired
geek.
by American comics.
You died for
No
us.
way. What gives you that idea, Sean?
I want to try to find a very particular art real quick. But you could talk about other things while I do that, because
I got a bunger. I have a bunger now.
Hell.
He's a silly little guy.
let's
Look at
go.
the Eevee Kirby I have by my desk.
That's also pretty great.
He's got a headband. Don't question the headband. But
Oh my god, he Eepin.
Ethan, shh, be quiet.
I also got holy shit. I also got like a mouse mat, but that's a little harder to show. That I have to angle my camera down, and there's stuff on it.
Oh,
let's see if I
your
can
rec
get this to
regionals
show.
finished today for Pokemon. Do you guys want to guess what restricted won the regional? And the restrictions are like box legendaries. Spoilers: Miraidon's really broken. Pokemon Power Creep is real. And the
So I
current
hear.
one's broken. And the combination it won with this time was Calyrex Ice Rider, another broken Pokemon. Very good, pretty common, Bolt Beam synergy. The Ice Rider is the weird one. It was leftovers with Leech Seed, which is a tech we've seen propagating since like a couple GCs ago, back in like one restricted format that like a Japanese player, Rizbeth, I think, was like using to like get top 4 or something like that. And it kind of like creeped up here and just like, because everyone's using like Grimmsnarl screens, like super bulky sets, that they're like, well, if we just like stall that shit out, eventually we get to set up Trick Room and collect Glacial Lances and pressure this way. And yeah, it was piloted by Michael Kelsch. That guy is like basically like what he's done in Scarlet and Violet in like 2.5 years of playing. He has won 3 regionals, made World Finals and World's top 4 in the 2 worlds in Scarlet Violet. And he was previously just like a Ranbat singles player. Dude is insane. It's like him and Wolf have completely different playstyles. That Wolf is like this controlled, makes the correct plays, super intelligent about the game, great team builder. Michael Kelsch, also good team builder, also has good groups, but he just makes like the most sicko insano reads, and he's right every time. Like he just gets the reads right that he needs to every single time, it feels like, to win games. And it's just like mind-boggling, which is that singles brain of like making the correct reads a lot, which I do think carries over. But yeah, Pokemon's cool. Really cool stuff happening right now. The comps suck. Fuck playing against Marina. Them on ass to play against. Look at you, Game Freak. Fucking nerf that fucker next patch.
It's
These
a
guys
really
suck.
fucking
nerf him. Nerf Calyx's. Nerf Urshifu. Bring balance to the regions once again. Also, Champions is supposedly coming out in January, which will be interesting to see what we do with that.
I need to find more mods to play that game, just so I can play more Outer Wilds.
Fair.
Oh, Outer Wild. Yeah.
Um, once again, I will say, Witch Hat Atelier, very good.
Good to hear.
Manga's peak. Like 20 chapters into it now,
Mm.
and wow, does that manga have a like? It flips a switch and goes from being cute Ghibli to dear God, this is fucked
I believe
on a
it.
dime.
Okay, but that's the best kind of thing.
It's so good. It's so peak.
What about To Be Hero X Mason?
Something like that.
Yeah, but like To Be Hero X isn't 10-year-old
I'm kidding.
girls.
Yeah, it's a dark. It's dark.
Madoka?
Yeah,
Wait,
exactly.
Okie dokie. I think
Madoka Miku?
it is time to start talking about anime.
I guess we could do that.
Ladies and gentlemen,
We
that
are an
is...
anime podcast.
That's what we're here for in 5 to 10 minutes.
It is indeed time for everyone. Fuck. Hey guys, talk for a little longer.
Okay.
Hey
So-
guys, fuck! Whoa,
Like, anyway,
whoa!
so a little game came out like wait, so I've been playing Persona 3 Reload. That game didn't come out like a week ago. Persona 3
That came out a
Reload,
couple
pretty cool
years
game.
ago.
That came it's like 7 months ago or something. How do we know? Was it like start of last year? I don't fucking remember. Whatever.
I don't-
Anyway, a game came out like a week ago called Doom: The Dark Ages. It's a pretty cool game. I'm playing a little bit of it just because it's on Game Pass. God, my computer hates me. It doesn't like this. I like this game. I think this game's fucking sick.
I love this
What's even
game.
better? The funniest thing is I saw a thing on Twitter like 20 minutes ago or something, where it was like a person like talking about the game and like what common complaints are. And some of the most common complaint they were mentioning is one of my favorite parts about this game, which is that they essentially removed Fury kills except for like
Yes.
against really big enemies, and it makes the game feel so good. You are
It
just
does.
killing things. You don't have to watch a 12-second animation to kill a fucking little grunt.
But it does feel sick.
Like, they are cool. But when it's your 15th one in the same encounter against an enemy that you could like it feels so long. That was my biggest issue with like Doom and 2016 and Eternals, that the game just felt long because you're just constantly in Fury kills. So when you end up dying 10 minutes into an encounter, it fucking sucks to redo all 10 minutes of it.
Look, they introduced a parry mechanic to Doom. I'm so fucking in.
And
It's
Dark
so
Ages is
fun.
fucking great. Dark
Did you
Ages
guys
is
see
great.
that one like
It's just a
reviewer
good time.
who couldn't beat the Cuphead tutorial, who was playing Doom and was just like hiding in a corner and shooting?
It's funny.
God, it incentivizes like quick, aggressive gameplay so fucking well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very fun.
Okay, we're good now.
That's I think Bloodborne was awesome too, is because it's like quick, aggressive gameplay.
Yeah, very, very much in the same style.
Sean, did you forget to bold on the PRs? Is that what this was? Anyway.
I sure did.
No.
Don't worry. I went before I was like I went to go click that. I didn't bold. Like I knew. I didn't even have to look at the image. I was like I didn't bold that.
I didn't do this
This
thing.
week.
I'm gonna go look at this thing.
I'm like
and it's not
I'm
done.
supposed to do that. I mentioned this to Michael. There is a world this week where my bottom 4 looks different, and that is that I power ranked this week's set of episodes after thinking about the episodes I watched a little harder, and not just doing immediately post episode watch.
Do you guys ever like look at the power rankings and go, okay, I feel a little bit like vindicated in my opinion that I thought was going to be a little bit hot take, and then everyone else had the same opinion. I went, okay, good, we're all the same page on XYZ, you know?
Yeah, well, so here's what I was gonna say. If I was power ranking this based on I sat down and thought about the episodes a little more, your former would be above Lazarus and Gundam would be above Witch Watch. But because I want to go off how I felt after watching the episode, that's what my power ranking is. And we'll talk about each of those when we get into it. Because I think if you spend more time with either your former or Gundam this week, the episodes are both a little better. Perhaps not enough, but We'll get into that when we talk about your FORMA. Before that though, Michael.
Umamusume,
Horse girls.
Cinderella Gray. So I should
Horse.
probably like have looked back at the video episode again.
No, one thing happened
'Cause-
this episode, so
Yeah,
you're fine.
I mean, yeah. I mean, see, that was the thing. It's like my brain was like, the only thing that happens this episode is the race. And everyone's like, there's no way that's the only thing that happened. But
there-
God, is it like the only thing that
There
happened?
is a thing tied
Yeah.
to the race
Yeah.
afterwards,
Yeah.
but
I mean, we also do start with Belno being in her debut race and getting her ass cooked. She is not a racer. She's just here for the love of the sport.
she
Yeah,
is not.
uh,
She is not built different.
Yeah. Yeah, she gets cooked. And Kidahara Joe is like, no, it's fine. It's just your debut race. And then she's like, Oguri Cap got second in her debut race. And he's like, have you seen the person you are trying to compare yourself to?
I love how
Stop
he was
it.
like, he's like literally like, hey, it's your opening race. Don't worry about it. You have to focus on what's more important. Ogre
Ogre
Cap's
Cap's
next
next
race,
race.
baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Fucking bodied.
But yeah, then we go over, and now it's Oguri Caps. It's another is a big race. Her and Fujisama, whatever, March. I don't remember.
So much.
Fujimasa March.
Yeah,
That's the one.
yeah. I couldn't remember if it was Sama or Masa, so I said both, and they just said March. Anyway, her and March are in this race. I think it's like an 8-person race, like a pretty small race. It was like an invitational or something. I don't know.
It's the junior crown.
Yeah, something like that. And so like we get like a little bit before this, we get a bit of like March backstory, not backstory. We get like bits of her like training. And her coach, boy, is he like not able to like actually help her. She's kind of like the worst kind of athlete where she just kind of goes off on her own. And he's like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. She goes, fuck you anyway, I'm going. As she ran 100 simulations in her mind about how she's gonna win this race.
There is an argument here that there's an argument here that he should have done this earlier because she's so clearly in the zone for the race that it's not a good idea to break her out of it. So like on one end,
Yeah.
like on one hand I agree with you. She's not being helpful as an athlete by actually giving her coach time. On the other hand, he should be prepared for this by now.
Let her lock the fuck in.
Anyway, race starts. And we see our two girls. They quickly get into second and third. And you're like, why are they not in first? It's because like we gotta always have one person who like blitzes into first, and then gets cooked in the last second because they use all their energy to get up there and they can't push through the last spurt.
Yeah, pace setting.
Yeah. And so they're going. And they're doing their race stuff, and we got this really sick moment where we got the monologue, like inner monologue between March and Ogre. They're like, okay, it's like a little early. This isn't quite where this would normally be where I do it, but like I'm feeling real good today. And you see them both start their final spurt like 100 meters earlier than they normally would be, and it's a sick ass scene as you see the two of them just blitz past the rest of the racers. It's like, oh yeah, this is sick. And you see they're going, and you see they're like actually perfectly matched in this speed. Sadly, Ogre Cap was about half a pace behind March the moment they started this. So she holds this half a pace behind until the last like 100 meters of the race, where we get hype moments in aura to occur. And she just goes, nah, I got my second final spurt. And you go, sir, that doesn't make sense. She goes, don't worry about it. And then she
Her
cooks
second
her
spurt
ass.
has hit the racetrack.
And then she finishes the race, and it's awesome. She wins the race.
It was pretty sick.
And March is like, how'd you do that? As they were both like standing completely still, which is terrible for your legs after doing that kind of a run. You should be walking on them. Don't let the lactic acid settle, whatever. Anyway. March goes, how'd you do that? No Grey Cap goes, I have no fucking clue. I just kind of wanted to win, and I did. She's like, fuck you. Ogre Cap, worst person to ask for racing advice. She just runs. She do not be thinking. This entire time, there's a person in the audience who we're introduced to at the end of last episode. She has gray hair. Or, like, she's actually more like blue. like a darker blue hair, but also still gray because everyone has gray hair in the show for some reason.
It's just Gargora.
Yeah, she'd be like, "OMG, they're so good." Anyway, I gotta go back to doing whatever bullshit I was doing. And then like have this race, like Joe's like, "Oh damn," Kitahara Joe's like, "Oh my god, you did so good, that's awesome." We also, I forgot, at the beginning of the episode, we get a fucking Rock Lee dropping the weights moment as she takes out her fucking giga-weighted. Again, Sean mentioned this while we were watching the show. It's the thing we like didn't mention last week, which is an eternal joke with this, which is within the cleats they wear, they have horseshoes put into them because they are shoes for horses. It's very funny. It's a really silly bit when they introduce it in like episode 3. I'm like, I get it. They got to put the horseshoes in the horseshoes.
I lost it when they were going through like the runwear store, and in the background there's just like a rack of horseshoes just hanging.
It's like, there it is.
Good world building.
Yeah. They do this race and they go, okay, the next race is and also during this race, some old guy's there. He's like Kitahara Joe's like
Uncle.
Oh yeah, like uncle or whatever. He's like, wow, you finally got a racer that's like actually gonna you're able to sponsor them. That's crazy. He's like, man, shut the fuck.
It's probably ass.
But like he's like talking, they're like talking to him at the end, and then he's like, okay, so what's your next race gonna be? And they go like, this one, I don't remember its name, but like that race, and it's like, okay, that's gonna be the next race. And then we get the little idol performance, because that's what you win. Upon winning a race, you get to do the idol performance. So we see her do her little idol performance. We don't get to see much of it. It's kind of just happening. We see like the beginning of it. It's kind of just happening off screen. As we see I want to call her Ace. I know there's something before the word Ace there.
Norn.
Yeah, Norn Ace is like she's cheering in the crowd. She's like, "That's my girl. That's my girl right there. I taught her how to dance because she's dancing a lot better than her last performance. She's an actual like idol performance here." And after this,
we the worst performance. Yeah. I like the traditional.
The traditional dancing was very funny. I was a very big fan.
Not my goat.
And then we cut to this person who's just like sitting in an office, who's in the opening, also just sitting in this office, and she's talking about business, traveling business, paperwork, business. And then she's like, I'll put my next trip, the race that was mentioned earlier. I want to say that's where the episode cuts off.
I believe they reveal that she's the student president.
They didn't drop her.
Maybe I don't know. Business, traveling business.
I'm pretty sure they explained she's like the student council president for the academy.
Yeah, that would make sense. Most of her talking there was just business, traveling business, paperwork.
Yeah. I think this is a perfectly...
This show's races are so fucking cool.
Yeah. I think this show's a perfectly good sports show. I just don't think it pushes the envelope too much besides looking good. I don't think there's a lot here this episode that's like incredible or like groundbreaking, and that's fine. Because it is still just enjoyable. Mm-hmm. I will say the one thing that upset me this episode is that going into this race, Oguri is considered the favorite, and I don't understand that, and I don't think they ever give a good reason why she's the favorite to win heading in here. Because sure, she won her last race that we watched. Has March not won another race or raced at all since the first one? Even then, she still has a win over Oguri Cap, and her coach knows, and Oguri Cap's coach knows, that March is better suited to this course. So why is she not the favorite to win? I'm really confused by that point. Outside of that, like, that was literally the only thing that bothered me this episode. Like I said, I think this is a good show. I enjoy it a lot. It's a damn good sports show. I just don't think it's doing anything extravagant to move it higher for me than where I have it. For now.
it makes the sports thing go burr. But I think like you say, not even any higher, but it's still like top 4 for you right now,
That's
right?
4.
So it's like
This is
it's-
my argument. Yeah,
animation goes crazy.
my point is I have a thing above it that I
Is that thing I'll
definitely
give credit to?
that I know we're gonna have to talk about. I really like that show's episode, and I think it did a lot of really fun things this week, which is why it's there.
No, I mean, I get it. When we get to that, it's gonna be a fun talk.
For
It's
some
a
of
good
us.
episode.
Yep.
Do we have other
We'll get
horse? Do we have other horse girl conversation to be had though?
Horse Girl running anime peak. It's just a good time.
Yeah, I think it's really good. And the animation's fucking peak. Like, what can I say?
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sports animation, this is great. It's awesome. They're doing cool shit. I like what they got, kid. But yeah, I'm looking forward to more of this. I want to see how. I'm interested to see the power scaling of the show, and that like right now she's smurfing, but like what happens when there's actually good players against her, right?
And if she gets absolutely cooked.
Like, is she gonna get cooked here? Is she just gonna like smoke them? Who knows? We'll find out. Pardon me.
Okay, then let's get moving. Let's talk about the show in the room right now. Your Forma this week. Your Forma concludes its 4-episode arc. We pick up where we left off, which is Ichika in the lab room with Lexi and Aiden. I wanted to call him Aaron. I was combining his last name with Furman with the A, and that's where I got the. It happened, but we have Aiden here. Aiden is holding Lexi at gunpoint, and reveals to Ichika what it is about these RF models that is the problem, and that is that Lexi has put inside them a system that abbreviates to NES. That's the only way I'm gonna remember it. The N's neuro probably, and the S is
Neural
system.
something system.
Yeah, I don't remember what the E is because it's a long word. It's a long science word.
The neural entertainment system. It's got
Sure, yeah. And what this does is it essentially allows the android's model to be to mimic the human brain so that it can learn and adapt. It's adaptive AI, more than just the regular AI that it already exists. And Aiden explains that he left the team before Lexi proposed this because he didn't want to be a part of it, and he figured if he left, she couldn't finish it. However, she's built different, so she finished it anyway. And then she masked it with a fake code over it so that nobody at all, including the ethics committee, could realize what she was doing until it was too late and everything was already approved and through. And the rest of the team who was working with her, essentially, if they had figured it out, would have figured it out after it already got pushed through. At that point, they're all going to be held accountable. Is kind of the idea. So we are at a bypass here where the script for Harold's brain, essentially his code, gets pushed over to Ichika, and Lexi wants her to preserve it, and Aiden wants her to I don't remember if it's upload or delete. I think he wants her to upload.
It.
Yeah. So that the public learns about it. She gets a decision game moment. It's
just Deus Ex Human Revolution's ending.
And
Straight up.
And before Ichika gets to make a choice, Aaron shoots Lexi in the knee. And then it comes over to her. It comes over to Ichika. It's like, hey, you haven't done what I wanted you to do yet. That means you're probably on her side. So things are gonna happen here, and you're gonna hand that back over real quick, or I'm going to shoot you, essentially. And then Lexi, earlier Lexi had revealed that she had kind of revealed some of the things she had been doing, which is she had been helping Aiden by getting him free from the cops, and then having her model, her butler, who she had replaced the head of, with the other RF model who they found the destroyed torso for in the lake. Yeah, Marvin. She had him bring him to the safe house where they were in episode 3. And then Lexi had dropped by after Aiden had kidnapped Harold and had taken Ichika's gun. They don't say this, but they show the gun in the frame, and her gun's not there when she wakes up. And so this is important because Lexi then shoots Aiden. And then her and Ichika have a pretty long conversation. All of this is happening in the same room for 10 minutes straight. Probably longer. It's probably like 15 by the time we're done here. But essentially, Ichika looks at Lexi and goes, "Hey, you're the scientist. I'm an investigative detective. I don't understand code. As far as I'm concerned, I didn't see any of this."
Doesn't affect me.
And Lexi goes, "Based, actually." To which she then follows up with, "I've erased all of Aiden's recent memories and traces of those memories, so you don't have to worry about that with, like, people trying to brain dive and figure it out. So no one's gotta know what's up with the RF model's code." And she goes, "But if you want to keep working with Harold, there is something you gotta know. And that's that, the 3 laws of robotics, that shit ain't real. That's it. It's just the thought of it that matters, you see. No actual AI is programmed with the 3 laws of robotics, because how could they possibly be smart enough to consistently enforce that? Nothing can become a human being that we create, because human beings are too complex for that. So you don't ever actually have to worry. The RF models are just kind of... They're as close as you're gonna get, but that doesn't make them human. And that is what she leaves her with. And then we get the wrap up for the case. They arrest both Aiden and Lexi. They do checkups on Harold. Ichika gets brought in by the top brass to, like, do the wrap up of the case. And we have a couple moments with her and Harold where he explains how he knew that Lexi was involved by seeing the stains on the sheets and having seen her in the cafe. But he's still confused about why she helped Aiden at all, because he doesn't understand that motive. And Ichika kind of goes, meh, because she doesn't seem to want to explain that they loved each other. That's all the motive that needed to be there. Perhaps because she thinks he doesn't understand it. It's not exactly clear. She also then chooses to lie to the head of the department. To the head of robotics, the guy who's in charge of, like, double checking the ethics, because in the elevator, he's like, "So, did you figure out what her motive was? Because you brain dived into Lexi right afterwards?" And she goes, "No, I couldn't. She erased her memory traces," which is not what Lexi tells her. Lexi never says she does that, and we're never shown she does that. So that is Ichika lying again, seemingly because she doesn't feel like ratting out that these two loved each other, and that was kind of the motive for both of them to take these actions. Presumably, Aiden loved her, that he didn't want things to get any further out of hand, and she loved him, so she didn't want him to actually get arrested. And yet they could not they could not come to a compromise either way, though. And then we have the end scene where Ichika and Harold come to terms and agree to still be partners, which the show, for some bizarre fucking reason, decides to split up the moment where Ichika offers him the handshake, and then it cuts, and he walks away, and then it cuts back to show the handshake for some weird fucking reason. I don't know why they cut this scene this way. It was really weird. And that is the episode. I do not think they cliffhanger us on what the next case is. We just know that they are going back to Germany? Russia, because it's St. Petersburg. Because you wouldn't know this, and I wouldn't know this, but apparently they're from St. Petersburg.
They mentioned it before.
Did they?
They started the show in there. They started the show in St. Petersburg.
Got it. I didn't remember that.
Yep.
That's this week's episode of Your Forma. Here are the positives I'll lay out from my end. I think the music that plays during the conversation between Lexi and Ichika is really rad. I think it really suits the mood. It's really cool. It fits the sci-fi vibe, and like a kind of, you are diving into knowledge that, like, other people cannot comprehend kind of tone. That rules. That song rocks. I think retroactively, if you take the time to really try to comprehend what is being said, there's some neat stuff here. While you are watching this episode, it's a lot, and it goes quick despite how long you spend in this setting, that you're not gonna really pick up on everything, and you're not gonna parse exactly what's being said. The way in which Lexi says, AI do not actually have the 3 laws of robotics in them is the most convoluted fucking workaround to get to that point that, like, you will sit there and listen and go, what did you just say? I think I got it, but I'm not sure. And if you don't
just tell
feel...
the robots the laws exist, they'll just think they exist.
Yeah, the only
We could
reason
just
you...
program the laws and you have the programming.
Yeah.
You have the
It's not too
tools.
much work.
The only reason you can kind of understand it is that she just flat out says the laws of robotics have never existed to begin with. But if she didn't say that and she left it in the way that she explained it, you would have to have really been paying attention to try to understand what she's saying. And part of that could be that we're reading subtitles, and that this is maybe better off if you hear it than if you have to read it. But even then, it's a lot of science mumbo jumbo, so maybe not. Probably not. But I do think, I will say that I think the general structure of how the mystery plays out is good. I think you can kind of piece together the things that have happened to lead to this point, but for a first mystery and for a mystery of like what we've set up, it feels a little anticlimactic for what you get. Like the stakes don't feel as high as what they were made out to be. And I feel like it's really odd to have a character like Harold here who does piece together the mystery in ways that you don't get to fully understand, and you don't get his understanding until the end already. It is a little meh for a mystery to do that, I feel. Especially because Ichika does it like, you essentially get one person figuring out the crime and the other person figuring out the motive, and they just happen to solve the mystery without ever bringing the two parts together for this case, and that feels weird. I still like this show, is what I will say.
I don't like that feeling.
I don't.
That's fair.
It feels like she literally looked at it and went, I don't understand code. I know you just told me exactly what it says and exactly why this is bad and exactly why...
See, no, I think she's
but
lying.
I can't read the code and I kind of want to fuck the robot, so...
But
we're just gonna let this one slide.
But she's lying because that's cop speech for I'm looking the other way, because that's my excuse. I'm gonna say I don't understand it despite clearly having it explained to me.
I don't fucking like it. That's what I'm saying.
That's fair.
I think it's really lame how they kind of pulled that one, in my opinion, and it's kind of just like you just want to fuck the robot is what it feels like, and that's okay if you want to fuck the robot, but like. I don't know. What did you think about Mason? Why do you hate it?
So, like Sean said, it's very anticlimactic for what it was built up to be. And also just like, none of these characters are interesting to me. They're just very like cardboard cutouts of like characters to me. They have no personality. Lexi is the most interesting one at I'm a scientist who does not care about ethics at all, which is, I guess, somewhat interesting, but that's about it. And just, again, having the plot, or the mystery explain that it was solved by Harold, but Harold not being able to say anything for most of it because he's not around, is just, it feels off. It doesn't feel right to just be like, aha, this character did solve it, but like, we couldn't say it until afterwards because of reasons. It just feels like they're shaking their own hand, I guess. It's just odd. I just have not enjoyed this show as much as I thought I would, and it's very disappointing, unfortunately.
Michael?
I think the show's neat. I like the setting. I like Hieta and Harold.
Yeah.
I enjoy the two of them. Like I enjoy what they do. I just didn't care about the mystery. And this feels like this is gonna be like the big this is a thing that directly pertains to one of your protagonists. His programmer is your fucking perpetrator here. That's like a crazy big thing to be like, yep, and this is gonna be your first mystery here. Sean, can I reveal the funny thing? Because this show's absolutely dying.
Sure. But for what I'll say is, before you do, let me break down a point you made, Mason, that I think is really interesting. The most interesting character out of this arc is Lexi. Perhaps that's because Lexi is introduced in this arc, and you're getting the background information about her. Whereas we have not been given any background or character building about Ichika and Harold at all.
Correct.
And perhaps this arc would work better if it was preceded by a mystery that you watched them solve, and that was built around them as characters together. That would be what you would think a show would start with. Yeah, Michael, go ahead.
It feels like this mystery should have either been the entire season or the last one. It should not have been.
Well, here's my understanding is what I will say, is that this mystery and every mystery in this show probably is an entire volume of the source material. So you spend the whole volume with each mystery is how I imagine, based on my general understanding of the source material. Go ahead, Michael.
So as we were like finishing this episode up, I'm sitting here, I'm like, Sean, is the thing that they just like skipped the first case with these characters? And he goes, kind of. They just skipped the first volume of the light novel. This is volume 2.
And again, I presume the first case is the first volume. But this is why we don't get an explanation for what your FORMA is, for how the brain dives work in detail. It's why you get dropped into them talking to a girl who they just clearly helped process through something, and why, like, the show clearly has set up that Harold has this dynamic with this family that you don't understand. And presumably the first case is the RF model killing somebody in the Queen's Court. I presume that's what it's tied to, given the context of this
That's
case.
Crazy. It's not important.
It started case 2.
So the argument I guess you could make from a creative decision is that this case encompasses the idea of like rampant AI, and that is maybe a cooler thing to show as your first case, but completely skipping core character development is fucking bold and perhaps bad. Yeah.
As to like, why do I care about this girl getting stabbed? I know she has a connection to her characters, but I don't know why.
Yes.
She just is there, and
I
talk
assume
at the start of the episode, and now she's stabbed into the hospital.
I assume you learn things about Daria and the young girl who's like who like works with them with information from St. Petersburg.
And obviously Harold's connection to it, because Harold seems connected to Daria, as he should be going back with her and not solving more cases with our main character.
And presumably you know you know a little bit more about Ichika and her sister and whatever happened there and previous partners, because like I assume the original beginning,
she just like couldn't deep dive with anybody else.
Yeah,
she couldn't handle her deep dives.
Mm-hmm.
She dives too deep.
I haven't read the first volume. And again, I only know this because I was looking up where to watch this, and literally like first 2 comments in the thread is like, by the way, they skipped the first volume of the light novel, bold choice, and I'm like, crazy. I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see that.
Which is why, right, bold choice.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think that changes necessarily my view of the first 3 episodes, because if I didn't know that information, I feel like I would have felt generally the same, which is, it is weird that I'm not getting this information. Like, the difference is, without knowing, you have hope that you're gonna learn more as the show goes on. But what you find out once you know they skipped the first volume is that you probably aren't gonna get any of that unless they choose to like recap the first case for some reason.
I can't wait for the next arc to be a flashback to them solving to volume 1.
That would be
it's just another fucking
except not nearly as insane.
4, 1, 2, 3, 7, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah, instead of
go back to the second half of episode 5. Watch episode 12.
Yeah, the difference is fucking Peach Boys scrambled their first volume's order completely to tell some story, I guess.
I'm aware of the
story.
Call it
there,
that.
I guess.
I disagree. I totally get the feel about this. Again, I like the show from like a conceptual level. I will say a huge disadvantage this show has is that like like what you could argue is maybe its coolest unique concept, which is the brain dive thing. One, you don't get to see it a lot. You see it maybe twice in the entire first 4 episodes. Two, Michael knows this. I watched a show that does this, and it's way cooler. Because you
It
go.
was very funny, Sean. I looked up like things about the show, like I was trying to figure out where you found this. I looked up like episode 1 discussion, 3rd comment down. Yo, this reminds me a lot of that hidden gem It Invaded, and I'm like, damn. Sean, is that your alt over there?
Well, and
Oh, that's right
remember,
there.
the reason that this was on my radar is because this comes from Geno Studio, who is the studio who did Golden Kamui, Kokaku. There's another one there that I can't think of that they did that is also, like, in my radar consistently. That, like, I know them for that. And so, like, when they pop up with something, I'm always interested, because usually they're grabbing really unique things to adapt. And I will say, I think this is a really unique story. Perhaps I'll go read it. Probably not. Especially the fact that it's probably going to be more difficult to find this. But, yeah, that's a bummer. But who knows? Perhaps it will survive, and we'll see what they do in episode 5.
You never know.
You never know. Maybe through discussion we'll find out we hate something else, or a wheel's gonna get real funky.
Wheel question mark? Wheel? Could be fun.
It could be fun, you never know.
Could be wheel.
Might be neat, give you a FORMA
Be
a
fun.
second chance. But yeah, let's Mason.
So My Hero Vigilantes. So this episode, Koichi's running because he's trying to get in shape. Some other things happen. I believe this is the episode that Knuckle Duster's depressed for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he gets...
Mhm.
He almost dies by getting the shit beat out of him, and then beats the villain that was fighting him. He goes, "Man, I feel great. I need more villains like that." But main crux of this episode is Koichi is trying to get in shape, and he's running, and just happens to become running buddies with Ingenium, the running hero. Also, Ida's older brother from original My Hero.
I do know this, by the way. Without Michael and I had this conversation while watching the show. I was like, I want to redouble check that I have all this information right. I had one thing kind of wrong, in that I thought he dies. He's just injured severely.
He doesn't die.
He essentially
He just gets paralyzed.
He essentially socially dies in this setting.
He is 100.
Yeah.
He is completely out of commission.
Yeah.
'Cause, again, I got
Might
into
say
a
he had to
little
put
bit
some brakes on his career path.
huge stain on his career, you could say.
Yeah.
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 So,
Yeah.
in running into Koichi, they get to talking for a little bit, and Ingenium's like, "Hey man, what's your quirk do?" And he's like, "Well, I slide on things." And he's like, "Okay." He's like, "Do you have anything going on?" He's like, "Well, I have some issues braking." He's like, "Well, you can move any way, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Why not just go in reverse?
Should move
Just-
the opposite way, Five Head.
Just you can slow yourself down by just applying acceleration the opposite way." He goes, "Holy shit, I'm an idiot. Great stuff. Thank you, man. I appreciate you."
Fucking love
And he's
him.
like, "Awesome, man. We've actually got a really cool quirk. Here's my card. Once you get out of school, come join my agency." He's like, "Holy shit. I'm gonna go for a pro hero. This guy's really well known. This is awesome." And later on, our three knuckleheads are helping out with a fire, and they save a little girl. And Ingenium sees that Koichi's there.
You've blurred a couple of lines.
I certainly have.
So the saving the girl scene is in the talk that he gives Koichi, where he's like, "What's the most important thing about being a hero when your quirk is speed? It's about saving people, because people want to be saved, and the thought they have is save me quick."
Yes.
He is going after
He's going after another speed-based hero
Yes.
that also eventually we find out has bat wings as well, which is what allows him to get away from Ingenium so fast all
Yes.
the time.
and our vigilantes help with this.
Yes. They helped us out because this guy is cutting through alleys and stuff, and our guys just knock him out. Koichi specifically trips him as he's running. They managed to tie him up and help Jenny him out with this rogue villain. After this, when they're running the next morning, he's like, "Hey man, really appreciate the help last night. You're really helping out. Give the card back. Come on. You know you're not supposed to do that."
That's not really it. It's his idea.
Yeah.
It's more genuine in that he's like, you clearly have a thing you're already doing.
Yeah.
I don't need to take that away from you. Which makes
Exactly.
which makes him sad. He's like, wait a minute, no.
He's like, no, this is my out. I need this, please.
Please help me get away from Knuckle Duster. God,
They're
please.
crazy, man.
But this episode's just great.
Yeah.
It's a perfect use of a cameo, in my opinion, and it's specifically allowing Koichi to unlock more uses for his quirk and learn to get past a significant setback that he's having. It's a really cool way to do it.
Yeah.
It's also just a classic application of hey, sometimes the best answer is the simplest one. Instead of trying to stop, just try to go the other way, with force.
Yeah.
Which will then naturally just stop
fucking
you.
love Koichi's quirk.
It's so cool.
The level of bullshit you will see this quirk reach.
I know a certain thing that happens in application, and I'm very excited to see it.
I want the quirk to make little screechy screech sounds whenever he slides and stops. Just
That would be really
that's what I
good.
want. That's just what I want in my life.
I will say that I think the only drawback this episode has is that we kind of get away from the plot for a while, but it's fine because it's sick. It's cool. I really like what they do. This is a really neat episode.
I mean, it's character progression episode, right?
Yeah. I disagree about the Knuckle Duster stuff from the beginning of this episode. I don't think he's in a funk and he gets out of it. I think he's very focused on what's going on and is upset that they can't find the bee user. And I think what happens isn't that he's like, oh, sick, this was such a thrill. I think he legitimately comes to a realization, I'm not gonna be able to do this. There are gonna be villains I can't fight. Because there's this little scene before he does the whole positive perk up, where he has a look in his eye that very much feels like him going, that was really bad. I could have died and everyone here would have died. There is a level I can't get to, and he's just putting on a show. I really think that's what it is. That's how that felt to me. Which I think is very real to come from a character like this. Because, we like to compare him to Batman, because, thematically, he kind of is, right? He's the guy with... But, the difference here is, he's a Batman whose big thing is he's just strong, right? He lacks the other critical elements of Batman that lets him be, the guy who has an edge on everybody.
And
money.
Billions of dollars.
Yeah, he doesn't have the
Yeah,
tech.
that
He
one.
doesn't have, as far as we know right now, he doesn't have the drive. So, this is more of, this is just more of, this is the kind of character you get in a regular superhero story, who, picks up and, goes, okay, I can help the superheroes out. And then has that really close run-in with a really bad villain and goes, actually, I was wrong. Except the difference here is he hasn't given up yet. Probably because he still thinks there is things he can do, and he can at least get the right people to the spots they need to be. I think this makes him really interesting. That's just my take on that, though. I could be wrong. You could be right.
I think he's rad. I love Ingenium. He's such a good character for Koichi to me, as someone who has a similar power. I think it's just really good for him to have more tools in his kit. It's fun.
Now, I don't know this. How do you get a lot of him in My Hero, or no? Because
No.
it's more... Yeah.
No.
So this is
You-
also
he has
nice.
a whole,
Yes.
He has
Because
a
he has no
combined
legs
2
anymore.
sentences, maybe.
Yeah.
because I
You
know
get more of him in this entire episode than the entirety of the series.
that was kind of my guess, because again, I have the understanding about what his brother goes through, and I know his brother takes up the mantle, and I know that general plot point.
And the entire thing you get is just the fact that his brother
Yes,
is paralyzed because of Stain.
Stain,
That's
yeah.
all we know.
And that was about my understanding, which again, so I don't get to give this point of view and like speak on it effectively, but I imagine this is cool to get as a My Hero fan.
Yes,
Like I imagine
very
this is a
much
really
so.
fun character to see and to interact with.
I like when they name drop characters that like are from My Hero that you just don't get to see much of, because it's like, okay, cool, this is what this character is, who this character is, and like gives a lot more personality to them.
Yeah,
Is
we get their actual personality.
Is his squad around?
No.
His squad feels so out of place. I ain't gonna lie to you. I imagine they
I don't
just
think they exist
I imagine-
before
Agency?
this.
yeah.
I mean, I think they probably got split up because he's the main hero of that
Yeah,
agency, and
you
it
can't do
required-
anything
he
without
is the
him.
focal point of a lot of like small heroes, and if he goes down, there's no one else there, right? It's just
Yeah.
a bunch of like C and D tier heroes who have like pretty minimal quirks, right? At least that's how I look at it. But
Yeah. Michael and I had
yeah,
a
you don't hear anything
small
else of the squad.
Michael and I had a small conversation about why why sliding glide as a quirk isn't good enough to have just gone and got a hero's license. Because I wanted to reconfirm a little bit of that context. Like, from my understanding, yeah, his quirk's probably just not good enough to get through the academy, or to get accepted by them. And Michael's like, yeah, it's not. It wouldn't cut it.
Probably not. I mean, there's
The-
other
yeah,
hero schools he could have
yeah,
gone to, but he's also just like, dude, you know. I
Yeah,
think
again, it's
I thought
like
he
he
said
doesn't
he
have
had
the
some,
money
like,
to
he
do
wanted
it.
to be a hero,
It's-
but he like couldn't afford to with his like circumstances, basically. But
It was like he because he's very much in a similar situation to Deku from original. He puts All Might on a pedestal. His
Yeah.
outfit is a fucking All Might piece of a like
It's an
fanware.
all-white hoodie.
Yeah.
Yo, side note, the sunglasses in this episode, sick as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my guy, the crawler there.
love Crawler.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know. The show's good.
very interested to see. I want to see where this keeps going to.
But yeah, it definitely hits that thing where it introduces character name drop you've heard from My Hero, and you go, "Oh, I know that guy."
I mean, so here's the turnaround for me, because I had Vigilantes really low. This episode just kind of showed me, like, okay, you're doing really interesting things with your characters. You're willing to really dive into the characters themselves and what you're going to put them through in the setting. And I wasn't giving you enough credit for what you're doing. You're not just a pretty looking action show. You are actually really caring. And for me, that was like, yeah, I had a really enjoyable time watching this week's episode, and there were clearly other things I did not enjoy as much, so it needed to get raised to the level it probably should have been. Because I can agree now, 4 in, I'm like, yeah, okay, I know what you're doing. I really like it. This is rad. Cool.
Show's just a real fun, like, character-driven time.
Yeah.
It's good.
Agreed.
Pop does nothing this episode besides deliver one of the funniest quips of the episode. I'm not affiliated. Goodbye.
Keep in mind, I'm not affiliated. Bye.
So good.
Pop is just a good support hero.
And also to be there while he gets his shit kicked in by Knuckle Duster in training stances.
Yeah, slight concern for Koichi's like health of getting his ass kicked by Knuckle Duster.
Okay, John.
Oh no, I gotta talk now. All right. Actually, someone else is also done too, Joe. So now it's relatable.
Hey,
So
not
which
yet.
watch this week? So we cut
No,
back.
I'm down to 2 shows.
Oh, true.
Yeah, I know we don't want to
I
think about
forgot.
Zatutabi. It did exist.
No, sorry, my brain got messed up because I'm like, yeah, John must have lost the show last week to not have 3. I forgot that he just didn't. He
Oh.
started at a
I
different
just didn't have
threshold.
one
Yeah,
because life's not fair. Get over it.
yeah.
But so yeah, this week in which watch we have Nico is back at the house with the 2 boys now, who we have Morihito and Kanchi. Kanchi we learn is a Tengu. Similar thing with like Morihito, where it's like descendant. of a long line of them, where he learns to be racist towards ogres. That's kind of the kick. Is like his family hates ogres. 'Cause ogres and Tengu were just rivals forever. So he doesn't like Morihito. And so Momo or Nico, being the genius that she is, she's like, I got magic for this. Easy peasy. First off, animate the umbrella. It can tell us more information about him. And this umbrella becomes a main character in this episode for exposing a lot about Kanchi, and then also helping in the main grand scheme of things. But so they go back and forward. Eventually Nico goes, I want these two to be friends. I want them to be best buddies. So I'm gonna enchant this Pocky so that way whoever eats the Pocky, the next person who eats it will become more I guess affectionate towards the first person. The problem is this goes down the line. And so the problem is as Morihito starts chasing Kanchi, who has this Pocky, they leave it on the street. And then these kids eat it. And then the dog eats it. And so they all become best friends down the line. And then Nico comes to break it up and he goes, what the fuck are you doing? We the perfect balance was there. The dog was so invested. And then Nico goes on to try on some of her grandmother's clothes, and then there's one that is like cursed, so it tries to fly her away to help open or unlock something that we don't know about before the boys go and rescue her by destroying the enchanted clothing. Thankfully, relatively tasteful and very brief nudity. I think it's pretty safe considering.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to keep her pants. That's a dub.
Yes.
It was like one shot, and then she had the shirt on in the next shot. So we take those. Small victories. But we learned that basically both Kanchi and Morihito both know about the prophecy in different ways and are both familiars to protect Nico. Kanchi because he was fucking broke and his mom bailed him out, or Nico's mom bailed him out in exchange for watching over her, and then Morihito for his own reasons. So now she has two guardians that both know about this prophecy of rain and dogs, and are both like, this wasn't the prophecy, but we should probably keep an eye on it. We should probably be careful going forward. And Nico goes, what prophecy? What should we be careful of? Are you saying this is going to happen again? They're like, no. Like liars. And then they close the episode by playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Against each other because now they're best bros.
That man had a trap hole in his hand.
Which, Mason,
Yes.
honestly, I'm surprised it's bottom 3 for you because they played Yu-Gi-Oh! So it should obviously be a top 3 show for you.
Well, I'm gonna pitch something to see if Mason agrees with me. Here's my problem with this episode. I think Kanchi sucks.
Yeah, he does.
Whatever.
I'm hopeful he's gonna get.
worst.
I'm hopeful he's gonna get better because they set him up to be a little better than how he's coming off, and they set him up like he's basically gonna leave most of the generational divide with him and Moy behind. I'm hopeful. I just
Play
don't.
another bros.
I don't like him in 80% of the bits he runs this episode, and that kind of sucks.
Understandable.
It brings it down. Otherwise, like, the episode's fine. I don't have a lot of issues with it. I think the friend bit's good. I'm not the biggest fan of the outfit, putting the eyes on her tits. Acknowledging it does not make it better.
Understandable.
It is a choice you make. I'm not a big fan of it. But again, that and the part where it actually gets destroyed, they're not the biggest issues in the world. It's just thanks for giving me more fuel besides I don't like Kanchi. I'm hopeful. I really am hopeful for him. But otherwise, I think the episode's fine.
Yeah,
What do you think about it,
maybe it's
Michael?
because I've read into the manga to like chapter 30 vaguely. I don't fucking remember. I think in my brain, like I know Kanchi gets a little bit better. So like I know vaguely, we will kind of settle out with this group, and I'm like, this was fun. I had a fun time this episode. This was a fun little time. We did some silly little things. And I was like we get a gag from her casting a spell that has a silly downside. This one doesn't even have a downside. She's just a moron.
Yeah. She just didn't think it through.
This one's just kind of on her. I agree.
Yeah. And then we get like it seems to be splitting kind of like, so we get like a bit of like she does some stupid shit with the spell, and then she almost dies. And we're just gonna keep doing that. and again, it's some fun stuff
I do.
with like.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, like, the front half was fun. I do enjoy the bit that I really enjoy the moment he eats the Kenshi eats or Khan eats the Pocky. Like the immediate thing from Mojito, he goes like, "Holy shit, that shoulder right there! I need to put my arm around that shoulder."
Is a good bit.
That's my
it
homie.
is the good bit. I also do.
I-
I do like that she sees it as a romantic thing through her fucking romance brain that she has
Yeah.
that she can't divorce. And
Her social manga brain, yeah.
and yes, and in reality, it's just boy being like, "Yo, my bro, get the fuck over here." It's good. That bit is good.
I need to be homies with this man now. Oh.
Yeah, and the back half is kind of just whatever.
I do prefer.
It is introducing it introduces the idea that there is a person who
Yes.
there's a person who can cast magic that is trying to get her now. That is a introduction to yes, there is a bad person here we're gonna need to deal with at some
Yeah.
point.
The
There's
threat
some
is real.
third party doing things.
I do prefer this style of episode of entirely one focus for the episode as opposed to the past couple, which are we are running 3 different bits in the episode, because I just stylistically am not usually a fan of the segmented episodes that tend to come from adapting. Pseudo Harem was like that. A lot of our slices of life and rom-coms are like that, and I'm always a little iffy on that. Mono's like that, but I feel like Mono's flows better than how I thought the previous Witch Watch is. My problem with the previous episodes with Witch Watch for that is that a lot of them feel disconnected. Which obviously they are. They're probably all individual chapters just to get you used to the characters and build up to the big stuff. That's fine. I get it. It's just for me, I'm I prefer this where it's all one big isolated story bit. That makes the episode. I like those styles of episodes better.
I can agree. I just think this show so far is fine. It's not great. It's not amazing. It is fine. It's cute.
It's a fun little time.
It does exactly what it needs to. It's fine. We get
There's a reason that's been running in Jump
spell
for almost 4 years.
Give me a
It's a fun
Tengu.
little time.
Give me a Tengu character I don't immediately want to strangle for a while show, please. At any time, any show, fucking Gemba. I just want a Tengu. I want a Tengu reference character that I don't want to have to strangle by the end of the first time I meet them. I'm sure they'll get better. Hey, guess what? It's chapter. Give me a second. It's chapter 203, and Gemba had a serious and important moment between him and another character this week.
Let's
They
fucking
did
go,
it.
dude.
I think he's had a couple before, but they're always capped off with a bit. This one was legit serious and a really good moment for him. Tremendous. A win for a Tengu.
A win for a Tengu.
I had another thought quick.
Wind for a Tengu.
I'm trying to see if I can remember what it was. I don't think I can.
Damn.
Yep, it'd be like that sometimes.
Damn, that's rough, buddy.
And Michael.
Oh, oh my god, we're on Mono. There we are. What fucking happened in Mono this week? They vibed.
Winery tour.
Oh yeah. We got the whole gang of 5 this time. Because it's essentially all started with bring up character names. The blue-haired one, the one with the bike. She goes, "Hey, you live in this part of Japan, and you don't drink wine? That's like, I don't know. It's like being a person and not watching anime. I don't know." And he's like, "Okay, I guess we'll do a little winery tour." So she calls the whole gang together. It's like, "I'm gonna do this. You guys want to come?" And they're like, "We're like 15
or 12.
or whatever." And she's like, "Nah, it's fine. You can just go there and exist. You don't have to drink. It's legal." And they're like, "Okay." So we go on. I want to say there's I don't remember there being anything before they get there. They just kind of
They check out the museum kind of thing that's there.
Oh yeah.
That's not exactly the winery.
I just remember them just kind of vibing around.
It's like the history of the winery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a tour.
It's because
Yeah,
it is a separate place because they go there to buy the wine glasses before getting to the winery.
Oh yeah, they
'Cause
do.
it-
They do go in there.
It
They
is
do,
a-
they
it
do
is
look
a-
at
considered
increasingly
as-
more
yeah.
expensive wine glasses.
It is considered a second, like a separate stop because she asks her if there's anywhere
Yeah.
else she wants to go.
Yeah. And we get like the history as to why wine glasses have feet. And it's like, well, there's about 3 reasons or something. It's that it's 1, so your hand doesn't warm up the wine, and 2, that your hand doesn't cover the wine. There may have been a 3rd one. Maybe there was only 2. I don't remember.
I think there's 2.
But yeah, they think essentially so your hand is not directly affecting the wine, so you can get like a good view of it, and so you're not warming it. It's like, oh, okay, neat little wine fact. Anyway, we get to the good part of the episode.
Anyways, fuck that shit.
Anyway, we get to the part where the mangaka starts getting fucking wine drunk, and it's based as fuck. And as this happens, she gets progressively less and less detailed. She is a blob at this point of just nonsense lines just existing, and is great. Yeah, we just set to see her trying different wines. So I guess the idea is that like it's like, oh, we have these you can try, like to try it, and you have like these really tiny cup. And it's funny, she gets like 2 of those down. I'm like, that was like maybe an ounce of liquid right there in each of those. And after 3 of them, she's like on the floor, gone. I'm like, oh no, she's a lightweight. This is a problem. So we get through a little bit of that, and while this is happening, the other 3 go and they go to the Brian cannot remember.
Open air hot spring.
Yeah, hot spring. That was the word. I couldn't think of the word spring. I was like hot tub. That's not what those are called.
It actually is a hot tub more than it's a hot spring, I believe.
Yeah, but like,
technically, kind of.
But yeah, they're just kind of sitting there. They're vibing. We get this really nice view of whatever rural area in Japan they're in, which was named earlier in the episode. Yeah, I'm like sick. These are some sick vistas we're getting here.
We get one of the best lines of the episode for me as someone who doesn't drink, which is one of the girls going, I don't understand why you want to drink if that's what it does to you. I'm like, mood, bitch.
Based.
Me too. And they're like, I don't know, maybe it's fun. And I'm like, yeah, me too. I don't know.
Maybe.
And then they go on the food tour.
Oh yeah, I did forget about the food tour. I don't know how I forgot about the food tour.
There is the bit where the biker comes back to the convenience store and and she can just buy the wine there from the winery.
Yeah. And I also forgot right at the beginning. They go to visit her in her studio. It's really hot out. And they're like, it's like, oh no, it's like she's not here. It's like, no, she's just holed up in her room with the AC on because it's hot out and she doesn't deal with the hot very well. She opens the door, goes to walk out. She's like, oh, they're here. Yeah, turns into a puddle. Immediately.
This is a SpongeBob gag. What this is.
Actual puddle on the ground. But yeah, then they talk about in the winery stuff. Yeah, and then this episode ends off with the food tour.
The food rally.
Yeah.
A photo food rally.
Yeah. And they have to go around another rural part of Japan. Again, I don't remember the names of any of these locations. Too many Japanese words. Brain can't remember things. But yeah, essentially, they're gonna go around. They have to take pictures at each of these different like restaurants and places around them. And as you're getting them, you also have to go to each restaurant and eat a meal from each of them. You go, oh, that's not that bad. That's pretty normal stuff. They get to the first location, and it's a fucking food challenge. It's a fucking mountain of food in front of them. And they're like, oh no. Wait, those people next to us. I forgot. That's why I reckon they're mukbangers. Oh no. And we essentially get they got their food. They start eating it. It's like a big pile of croquettes or something. something like that. And they get through like, oh wow, we finally got through it, and then and the main two look at each other and they just go, we did nothing there. Shikishima ate like that entire thing by herself, and which leads to the gag that will be like leading this entire thing, which is Shikishima's like really good at eating food. Not sure why. She's tiny.
Kirby.
She is Babby. Yeah, she's apparently Kirby. Get to the next location. She starts going ham whatever they're eating. I don't remember what the food was. That one, no. So I know the last one's the yakisoba. That's like the last location they get to. Yakisoba is like heavy. And then she finishes, and the bit this time is as they're walking out, she has grown 4 times in size. She is chunky now, as she ate too much food to fit in her little body. That's the next location, and it is it's like the yakisoba one, and again she's like, no matter how much I keep eating, the food's still there. And Asachan goes, don't worry, I'll tag in. Finishes the entire thing of food. Now both of them are giant walking out of the building. And the third of the group, I don't remember her name, is still tiny because she ate like 3 chopstickfuls because she is unable to eat large amounts of food. They get to the end. They're like, okay, we did really good. We're ahead of them. We're ahead of the professionals because they were professional eaters and mukbang people. It's like, okay, and the winner of the competition is this other family over here, which is the family of the protagonist in
Eurocamp.
In Eurocamp. The pink-haired one is just the protagonist. That is her.
I think it's her younger sister, because I'm pretty sure she has a younger sister.
She doesn't
who looks exactly
have a named
like
younger sister.
Really? My memory.
Unless the character isn't on the character list, there's only 4 characters in that show that have the same last name, and that is her sister, who is the that's the thing. The taller one with the purple hair, that's her sister. I thought that. I looked this up.
I
Sean,
believe
did
you.
research this episode.
I believe you. It's been a long time since I've engaged with the Eurocamp, so I believe you.
Again, it could be like her younger sister, but like it didn't seem that that character existed.
I think
I think
the lines are just blurring between this and Boshi the Rock.
Fair, but yeah. Then they took pictures at some point during they had to take pictures at these restaurants. They probably took pictures at the wine tour. I don't know. But yeah, I had a fun time. I like watching these fucking goobers just be little goobers fucking around.
It's just fun. Like, these characters are just fun. And, like, the willingness to do just wacky shit with the animation is really fun.
I can't tell if sometimes when the characters get, like, really choppy, if that's intentional for a gag or a lack of budget.
Or if it's just budget.
But if that doesn't matter because it's funny.
Yeah,
I enjoy it
works.
either way. I think it's a good time.
Yeah, playing with the animation is definitely my favorite thing this show does, and I thought enough of the bits hit and ran well that I really enjoyed it. This was a much more enjoyable experience for me, and perhaps it's because I only had to deal with one episode and not 3 collectively split apart comedy bits, and I think these kind of shows are always better in smaller doses personally for me. But I thought this episode was great. I had a really good time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
I cannot express how much I adored the section where she was drunk. It was so fucking silly. It was such a great bit.
It's a good bit.
Forgive me, I have to go get names.
Oh, you're fine.
The classic maneuver.
Just call them that one and the other one.
I'll describe them. I'll describe them by hair.
Otoha, Alice, and the yellow-haired one.
Yeah. Lalisa? You don't remember Lalisa's name? That's the one I do.
No, I do not remember.
That's because you don't like her, Michael. That's because you're.
No, she's fine. She's like the one character I like of the show.
You don't like her hair. That's the same.
Well, yeah, her hair fucking pisses me off.
So this week, we open in the household again, another violin lesson, which Michael hates. We'll get to it. But the idea here is that we are redisplaying the dynamic between Lalisa and her sister. Do they just call her Alice?
They
Yes.
just call her Alice.
Because her name's actually not Alice, but it's.
They certainly call her Alice.
It is.
Because character lister has her listed as Arisu.
Which would be
That's-
Alice, but like
That would
Japanese.
that's Japanese.
Alice.
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 Yeah. But, okay. Fair enough. So Alice, and the first part of this episode essentially follows, well, firstly, they finish the violin lesson. She goes down, Alice goes downstairs and gets upset with the maid because there are white lilies in the house, which is what Lalisa was compared to when her friends were talking her up, so she wants them out of the house because she does not like Lalisa and Lalisa's mother coming into their family and taking her dad away from her. Lisa then is getting ready to practice her violin lesson, and her mother walks in, is actually insane. Is actually maybe a monster in disguise. She is perhaps unhinged. And make sure that Lisa is not fucking around with guitar anymore. Because that is a problem, and she wants to remember nothing about her previous husband. And wants to make sure that Lisa is living the perfect life so that they can maintain this family dynamic that she desires. So we come back to school. Our girls, Otaha and Lisa, are trying to figure out what they're gonna do with the band. Lisa has hopped onto an app to try to find new bandmates, and she's going to keep it only to women, as to not meet any scumbag male rockers that seem to be proliferating this app. And they wind up hitting an event that needs a bassist and a drummer. For like an orchestra performance, because the orchestra is unfortunately missing their current bassist and guitar and drummer. And Otaha goes, "That's cool and all, but are you gonna be able to play the bass? You're a guitarist." And she goes, "Yeah, I learned a little bit of the bass so that I could get better at being so I could apply some things to the guitar and learn a little more about the music. It will be fine. It'll be okay." In the meantime, Alice is leaving. I'm not sure if she is. Is she just younger grade or is she like middle school branch? I can't.
She's middle school.
Okay, that was the thought. So she is leaving and her friends are talking her up again. We do have a bit where Lisa is planning to head to the abandoned building to meet up with Otaha, and she has to lie to more people about what she's doing. So she expresses that she's going to the library. And they're like, "Well, the library is the other way," and she goes, "Well, I'm taking the scenic route because I enjoy nature." And they go, "Are you writing Tonka poetry? You're so incredible." And she goes, "Yeah, sure. I guess I'll have to learn whatever the fuck that is now. Great, thanks, guys." Meanwhile, Alice is brooding and desperately needs to vent. So she runs into the best character of this show, a black cat. And she goes, "Hello, cat. You're adorable. I carry cat treats because why wouldn't I?" And starts feeding the cat, and then immediately vents about her whole entire family dynamic and life and how much she hates Lisa and her stepmother. And she goes, "Cat, what can I do to get her out of my house?" And the cat starts walking away, and she goes, "Come back, please. Wait, no, friend." And the cat, conveniently, who could have seen this coming, leads her to the abandoned building, where thankfully Otaha has spies keeping an eye out on the entryway. And Lisa and her are able to swap over to the piano and the violin to make it seem like they were practicing that to help Lisa get better at playing. Which Alice buys, not because it's a good lie, but because Otaha is so pretty and so perfect that she could not possibly be a part of a scheming lie that her evil stepsister has concocted. Those drums are weird though, and I swear I saw her playing an instrument she shouldn't have been, but we'll forget about that for now. However, Alice decides to go on a rant to Lisa about how her and her mother are not going to steal her father from her, and how they are the worst people of all time. To which Otaha, after Alice leaves, goes, "You two are cute together. What a great family." And Lisa goes, Did you not just... Whatever, let's play more music." And two of them, the next day, head over to the orchestra so they can play. Lisa has also brought her guitar because it's her emotional support animal, and she needs it. And we meet people who are from a completely different music anime, because the entire tone changes drastically when these characters are on screen. But we end before we get any performance with them. I think this week is a slow episode, but I think it is. I enjoyed the build up for the family dynamic. I like fleshing it out a little bit. I don't think we really get a music performance like a real one. I think everything is pretty spliced and no real large focus on one. But that's fine because we're probably gonna get a couple next week when we actually do stuff with the orchestra. This is just you have to transition into stuff to build out the band. They want a band, they want a keyboardist, and they want a bassist. And that's what they're gonna try to get, and I imagine it's gonna be tied. I also imagine Alice is going to be showing up at this orchestra because her friends seem to rope her into something, and whether that's coming to here or playing here, we'll have to see. But I imagine we'll have a confrontation there in that regard.
I can't wait for next week's episode to just be the end scene to Whiplash.
I don't know what that means, but I trust you.
Mason.
You should watch that movie. One of the best movies I've ever seen.
I still really enjoy these characters and kind of how they interact with each other, and I think Alice is a very stereotypical stepsister character. I'm excited to see how she changes because she is clearly so head over heels for Otaha that I imagine there will be some kind of problem where I imagine the problem is she's not going to be able to rat out her sister without ratting out Otaha, and that's the problem, which is good. That's a good problem to have, is being too big of a fangirl to ruin your stepsister's life. Michael and I made a realization watching the ED of this show, which is, when we get the keyboardist, oh my, her tits are big. So you don't notice this in the opening because the school outfit hides it. Like you can kind of tell she definitely has them. But oh boy, the ED really shows.
Oh boy, the
ED there's an angle in the ED that is from below the chest up. Oh boy, given what this show does with its women characters and how they interact with each other, this is gonna be fun. I can't express how excited I am to meet more of this show's cast because I enjoy them a lot. I don't think this episode is anything to write home about, but I think the show's still good.
Mm-hmm. That's about where I'm at. Where they have it's a setup episode, but the show is just genuinely very fun, and I just enjoy seeing our two main characters just exist together. It's a good time. I'm excited to see more of the actual music portion of the show because it's sick as hell.
So this, I like Lily's. I think she's fun. I don't care for Otoha. And as you said, Alice is kind of very stereotypical with a lot of her things. Yes, the cat thing was cute. There's a very fun little. It's like, yes, she has the cat food with her. That was cute. I don't think we needed to just actually place the violin scene from episode 3 again in episode 4 to give you the exact same dynamic we already knew about her. I that legitimately felt like 2 minutes of wasted time because it was a thing you already knew. Like, you don't get anything new to come out of that event.
You get the mom
Alice
stuff.
saying one more, but you could just, that could have just been from the previous scene.
I think the argument
it doesn't feel
is,
like they need to happen separately.
I think the argument is you don't need the violin scene exactly previously. You should do it here. I agree with. I can see.
There's one of those things where I mentioned the shot after we finished it. I was like, at the beginning of the episode, I was like, in my brain, I was like, did Sean select the wrong episode? Because I've already seen this. Unless I accidentally watched episode 4 last week, I've already seen this exact thing I'm about to see. And yeah, then has a slightly different Alice has an extra scowl as she leaves the room, and then the mom walks in. The issue with this episode for me is, it's a fine episode, but it didn't. I already wasn't super high on the show, and it didn't push the needle towards me liking it farther. So it just kind of got to sit back a bit.
For me, the big thing is I'm really excited for the performance with the orchestra. I'm really excited to see where that goes, and I think it's set it up well. And I'm interested. And the thing I'm most interested in is getting the other band members, We do get our hard confirmation here. It seemed apparent from episode 3 given their conversations, but they flat out say it here. They're gonna be an instrumental band. I think that's rad. I think that's cool that we're not gonna get a vocalist. John, do you have particular thoughts?
Nothing specific. I mean, it's similar to like Michael versus. It's good. I needed to do a little bit more for me because right now it's pretty basic. I feel like, and a lot of it's just like we have the big performance to draw attention, and now it's like big dramatic cut. We'll come back to this probably. Like we're waiting for like another performance. I'm interested to see how they ruin this poor orchestra's day. Because let's be honest, they're gonna ruin this poor orchestra's day. But that's okay. That's what they're there for. Probably. But yeah, I mean, so far so good with the show. I just I need more from it for it to like kind of like start rising for me. Because for now it's just kind of been fine.
Hey, Mason.
Okay, so Gundam time. So this week's episode, our little group of Junkrats get approached by a woman who's a very like kindly small woman, who the leader of the group immediately points out used to be the like top Gundam pilot or like mobile suit pilot in the Federation with like over 100 confirmed kills. And she is looking for who flies the Red Comet now, the Red Gundam. She's looking for them, and turns out that's like the only person that she wasn't able to like win against. And Char killed her partner when like during a fight, so she's out for vengeance. Cut to our fight this week. Hey, look, it's her flying a Gundam. And she starts kicking the shit out of Shuji because she uses this like grappling hook thing that she attaches to her opponent to zip around and destroy her body because she's taking so many G's of force. There's a big like fight for a while. Machu can't really get to Shuji because she's fighting the partner pilot, and eventually Shuji like mind melds with everyone, shows the woman like inner peace, and then stabs her Gundam through the chest and blows it up and kills her. This is like most of the episode, so there's not a whole lot to talk about. It's just the fight mostly.
There's a little bit in the beginning about direction each of the cast is taking, which is Shuji wants to go to Earth because the Gundam wants to go to Earth. And Machu thinks that's cool and based because it's Earth. And she just wants to go do something. Seemingly. We also find out that she wrote on her future career plans she wants to be a jellyfish, which I think is wonderful. We also get a really cool line from her, because like they talk a little bit more about the Red Gundam and like how Shuji might have gotten it. And there's a line where she goes, where someone's like, maybe he stole it, and well, like first it's like maybe he found it, and Machu's like, that'd be neat, and then they go, maybe he stole it, and she goes, that would be even cooler actually. He would be even more based if he stole it. Because Machu's fucking a psychopath and I love her.
Yes.
But yeah, a lot of this episode is focused on this fight. You guys talk, and then I'll dive in.
I'm surprised it took us. It's weird. I'm both surprised it only took us 4 episodes, and also surprised it took us 4 whole episodes to get to the turning point of, oh, Gundam shit's fucked.
Time to
People
murder
die,
people.
huh?
People do, in fact, be dying. Shuji just iced a woman just because.
There's an idea here that there's like an underlying thing here that the reason why Shuji kills her, you can argue from watching it, the reason he kills her is because you don't kill her, she's not gonna stop. I think what the show's trying to tell you is being a new type pushes you to kill more. Like the solution you wind up coming to of how to resolve the situation often as a new type is to just kill. Because the implication this episode seems to give is that this character whose title is the witch is probably a new type. Because she links with Suji and Machu in that scene.
Yeah.
And the way that what's his face, the commander in the ship, I can't think of the blue hair guy. The light blue hair guy. Michael, do you remember his name? You said it a couple of times last week.
That's why I'm mad that I don't remember it.
But he the one who worked with Char, he really kind of expresses that she's probably a
Chalia.
Yes. He expresses that she's probably a new type, and that's probably why she's gotten away killing so many people so effectively for so long. And why she's able to do the things she does with the cables. Because my takeaway is, she has a better end line of a Gundam that is efficient, but it's still not efficient enough for compared to what she was piling in the Federation. That's probably what winds up tearing it. Because clearly not you don't kill 100 people without dying, without having the equipment that isn't gonna break when you do this dumb bullshit. I think the concepts for this fight are really cool. Perhaps this is my first time experiencing this. Maybe the fights being in space lose something for me. Because I think mech fights are really rad and cool, and this is coming from my Code Geass brain. And part of the thing I really like about Code Geass is terrain. And, like, you don't get terrain, and, like, this fight is so much cooler if you're on, like, hills and buildings, and, like, you can feel the movement, and that you're in space, so things just happen, and it feels like anything's possible in space in my brain, that, like, I just kind of go, yeah, sure, he was sandwiched between two laser beams and went, whooah! Again, this is an episode that I felt better about coming back to real quick to refresh myself on, and giving myself time to process and think things through, where, like, I didn't get my first time watching through. He kills her, and you have the scene where they're in the new type zone, the la land, and like he tells her what his motivations are. She has a visible response that seems positive about it, and then she flashes to see her son walking, or her child walking. And my first read of that is Shuji her kid? And that's wrong. That's not right. Whatever he says makes her think of that. That's what that scene means. But, like, watching this episode raw the first time, the new type shit, I feel like bogs it down so hard. Because, like, no one understands it. So how am I supposed to understand it? Machu's reaction to this is crazy in that she sees this go down and she goes, damn, so to get anywhere near Shuji, I gotta be determined enough to murder millions of people. Okay. I go, bitch, why is that your takeaway? You just watched a man murder someone in combat that does not require you to kill them. Your response should be, Shuji, what the fuck? Why'd you stab her through the chest? Dude, what the fuck?
It's like you very specifically made sure you were going to kill her. Like, all right, bud, come on. What's going on here?
Again.
It's because that's what the Gundam wanted.
Yes. With more time
the Gundam says it demands blood, therefore the Gundam gets blood.
Yes.
You know the rules, Mason.
Blood for the Gundam.
Blood god. Blood
for the Gundam god.
Again, I also my thing and my thought, I very uncertain about this because, in my opinion, not enough people on the ship respond for me to really know if I'm right. When the song plays, when the new type abilities react, the Haru doesn't hear it. Machu does, obviously. He hears it on the ship. His second in command hears it, and the guy who is a Gundam pilot also very clearly hears it, because all three of them have a response to it happening. Like, they talk about it. But no one else on their ship comments about it or makes any reactions, so I can't tell if only new types can hear the song. Like,
I think it's only new types.
I would have liked a bigger hint about that. I feel like, because that feels like it's important, and I would have liked someone on the ship to look at them like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? But no one really does that. They're kind of just all focused.
My response to that is, you were expecting that out of the person who made Ava and
Yes.
Gurren.
No, I understand. I do understand that is a thing I am dealing with here. If that is, I'm just saying, if that's the direction they take this, I would have liked a little clearer hint of that here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I understand that that's, like, the point is you're not supposed to understand it. But yeah, with more time with this episode, I would probably put it over Witch Watch for enjoyability for me. Because I do think the concept of this character and the interaction, like, I do think the core theme of, this isn't even a problem about revenge, this is a problem about obsession. I think that's really neat, and this episode's really cool in that regard. There's just a lot of bullshit that I think bogs it down on the way.
I mean, yeah, I enjoyed the episode. I think the witch was a really neat character to get, because I do like the idea of introducing that kind of character, going like, hey, person who is fighting to the death, and yet realistically, there wasn't much of, as you kind of mentioned, there was no way to stop her. If you just like win the fight, she's gonna try again, and you don't want to give her the chances to keep trying. Again, like the idea of the more inclined to kill, because I don't know, I just thought the episode was cool, and I like the witch a lot as a character. I liked what we got from her.
I feel like we didn't have to kill her though. Like, you just win if you take the head
Yes.
off the Gundam, right? You don't have to blow up the whole fucking thing. Like, he won the fight.
Yeah.
But the mech or the character just chose to be like, I think manslaughter is in order today, actually.
But John, he didn't choose it. The Gundam did.
Sure, but like, you know what I'm saying? and like, everyone's totally cool with that. They're like,
I don't think
well,
I think we're gonna get into this.
Oopsies.
Yeah, the idea is we haven't gotten to the after. We haven't gotten her talking to Shuji again after.
I don't think she's gonna have a problem with it. I think other people are gonna have a problem with it.
I mean, the idea is also, it seems like this isn't a new thing to claim about. It's a thing that happens.
I mean,
but it's still kind of one of those like, ooh, you did
giant mechs that explode in space. Yeah, I mean, sure, it probably happens. You can't always hit the headshot, you know. But like at the same time, it's like, ooh, that's a little bit just like murdery tendencies out of you, Mr. Gundam.
Yeah. In this particular instance, there was nothing stopping him from taking the headshot.
Yeah. This was not an accident. This was a deliberate act to commit murder, and that's when I was like, "This seems a little bit excessive."
And for what it is worth, the Gundam pilot on the ship, the guy who got his Gundam taken by Machu, his response is, and I think some of the people on the Junker side too are, "Whoa, why do we do that?" But he gets stopped by ship commander, who's like, "Hey. No, you don't understand. This is a new type thing." Like, that's where he delivered the lines of, like, the people who are new types are out for blood. They kill more people than are necessary, is essentially what he says.
Which is weird, because you think the old heads who were fighting in the Gundam Wars would be the ones that are just, like, out for blood more. You know what I mean? In a sense of, like, you think people like the witch would be the ones trying to murder people more than like
the idea is that she is. I mean, so this gets.
I know she kind of is. She's out to kill the Gundam. She's not out to kill the kid. She's just out to kill because this red Gundam killed her MO or whatever it was.
Because this might get lost in the scene with how much is happening. It's not that Machu's getting stopped by her MAV. It's just that she can't keep up. She can't get there. She got knocked far enough away, and now she can't keep up or get in without getting herself killed, essentially. Because her MAV gets shot out of the fight by her. Because her MAV goes, "Yo, that's not Char, clearly. You need to calm down." and she goes, "Fuck off, I'm killing the Gundam." Which again, like, it tells a really neat narrative and story. I like it a lot. In the moment, it's a lot.
It just felt like it feels like yes, if he killed her, I get it, but like the way he did it was just a very much like a like, huh, that's a choice the show made, and I'm not the biggest fan of it, but that's okay.
Oh, welcome to Gundam. I imagine
Don't have
that's
to be.
I imagine that's the point.
I mean, we've watched Gundam before, but like,
Yes.
I mean, I've watched two whole Gundam shows before, so I think I can speak on it now. But at the same time, it's just like, I feel like whenever you watch Gundam, you're waiting at the point you're like, all right, when are we gonna go batshit crazy and start murdering people? Come on, we know it's gonna. Come on, do the thing, Gundam, commit murder, commit genocide. But yeah, just interesting way to do it this episode. Any other ideas on this one, guys?
I don't have anything else to say. I think I definitely
I
said
guess a
my
small
piece.
thing because I didn't cut in back when Sean was talking about with the space combat. I think what makes this one so rough is that like it actually is just flat. Like this one feels like it's flat just against a black background. While like
Yeah.
episode 3's fight, it felt like there was something there to like grasp onto like the general location of things. Well, this was just 4 robots in space. Well, yeah, like the last
I
one,
also-
like Hover played such a big role in the episode 3 one that you had like reference points for where they were all staying.
I also think there's a lack, like, from typical action scenes, I think there's also a huge lack of perspective shots of what this fight looks like from outsiders' point of view. A lot of the fight between them are the two of them very close up together, and I would have liked to, like, you get it at the very beginning, when Machu's like, I don't understand how she's moving so fast. But, like, I would have liked larger shots from Machu's point of view, or, like, even the camera point of view, of, like, consistently seeing how fast she's moving because of the wires. I also think the wire thing is really cool. I wish you gave me time to figure it out before just telling me. Like, I wish you showed me the indentations. I wish, like, you talked about, like, you gave me briefings on, like, previous victims of hers where you see the damages on the Gundam. So I can go, that's interesting. What's leaving that? But they skip that part because you don't have time, I guess. And they just tell you the gimmick. And I think that loses a little element of the action sequence as well. But you're probably right, Michael. It probably definitely is also just like this particular space is very nothing. It doesn't really even feel like space besides the sound effects.
And also a small issue. Again, I just hit it there. But I like the visual of like initially, like the way she moves around, the very quick like appears behind them. Once we learn the gimmick, it doesn't make sense to keep doing that. Once we understand it's her grappling, we should see her grapple, not disappear and reappear.
Which they do show later on, but...
And here's the only caveat I'll throw to that about why maybe it does it, is again, I think there's an element to the grapple that's tied to her being a new type that means that it's not all inherently skill. It is a little bit of bullshit. That also, because like the way they react, the way they move, seemingly as new types, is unnatural. It's not normal. It is kind of like superpower-esque. Now, I'm giving you that answer. The show hasn't given us that answer, so that doesn't justify the complaint. You're absolutely right. Because at this point, all you can say at any critique is, well, they're new types.
They're new types, so like, you know,
which is a very this creator kind of thing. To be able to do, well, it's Ava's. But I'm interested to see more of this show, for sure, is what I'll say. The show certainly isn't bad. It's Gundam.
Gundam is Gundam. It's fine.
Hey, John.
I'm not a fan of it either. Hey, Sean.
Lazarus.
So Lazarus this week, we got to go after the hacker man, hacker 909 or whatever his name was.
Yep.
And so this leads us to this party, where they circle it on like, okay, this money is moving somehow through, so through this hacker man. We just need to identify who it is, basically. But we know it's connected to this guy and these big parties that he's throwing, and it's just this total douche magoosh who's just flexing his money around like Aiden Ross type. And so they sneak into this party and they're like, all right, we got the plan. We'll have disguises, right? And you'll be a girl because comedy. And so they're like, we need another target for him to invite up to the parties. So problem solved. You have a cute face. So they go into this party. In the end, of course, he's the one that gets the invite upstairs. She joins him. The two dudes sneak their way up by copying one of the like arm tattoos that lets them get scanned upstairs, which they doesn't really work because they kind of just get held at gunpoint. And then effectively there's a party on top with a bunch of dudes and hot girls who just want money, and they drink out of a punch bowl that's spiked, to which our main lady isn't affected because of course she's not, because you think this fucking cheap bar drink is gonna get her tipsy for some reason. We don't know why, because she was drinking it. She's just like, no, I'm better than that.
I imagine she has
basically.
a built-up tolerance to like easy knockout
For
drugs.
Christine,
Is
yeah.
the idea.
And so Christine and Leland kind of start fighting around. It's revealed that Elena decompresses the photo of like off of this plane and finds out that the guy that was Hacker Man all along is actually the DJ, the guest DJ that follows around with them. And so, action ensues. They beat up the bad guys. They shoot this guy. They're sliding around. The rich guy, I think his name is like Sam something.
Yeah,
Sam
Reich.
Stevenson.
No, Sam Reich.
Sam Reich. I heard his
Yeah, it's
dad's
gotta be.
congressman.
That's so rude to Sam Reich. I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah,
Reich
Sam
is good.
Stevenson.
But Sam Stevenson,
he
and then the visionary, as it's called, who's like who is the DJ, trying to make their escape on this plane, and they're gonna get away on this helicopter, and then of course Axel does the classic action movie thing, which is jumps off a building to grab onto the helicopter. It basically does nothing for him, to be honest. It kind of just puts him in a bad situation. And then Leland has this drone that's attached to their getaway car that he flies Axel up to, so they crash the helicopter into this river, and then he sits on top of the helicopter. He's like, hey, I can put some weight on this and drown you guys if you don't tell me where you got that money. Where's Skinner? And they're like, well, we don't know. They're like, cool. Do you know anything for us? And there's like, here's how we kind of got this money. That you can follow that trail. And they're like, good enough. And so he takes the locket that has like all the data from like the money transfers, and then pushes them into the river anyways, where they get arrested.
Fucking Bugs Bunnies him.
Which again, I don't know why they're so scared. You could, do people not know how to tread water normally, or
Nope.
just like
I guess not.
No,
swim
they're rich nobodies. They have never been taught how to
like,
swim in
the
their
hard
life.
part's already over. The window is broken, so like you can just like swim up. But they get fished out of the water and arrested, and now our main cast is like, all right, where to next? Basically, of I forget what exactly they were
The lab,
figuring out.
like a drug
Yes.
lab, because there's monkeys.
Yep. Well, yeah, it cuts on like a thing of like monkeys, basically, where like one of them, they're all like screaming, and then one of them just like keels over. From this Delta medicine or medicinal is where they got a lot of the information from.
Next week's episode is gonna be an outbreak reference.
That kind of covers
28
it.
days later.
The thing about these shows is the recap is very simple, because it's like, here's the main idea, here's what they do, action ensues, next plot point. Is kind of how I would describe this episode. Again, it's still fine. We're kind of just like following strands. We're not really getting any closer to actually finding Skinner per se. It's just kind of like we're going to A, which leads us to B, which leads us to C, which leads us to D, and eventually like
We'll
I
get
guess
to
'cause
S.
in a sense it's like we have to find the guys, so you just have to follow these like slight strands and just hope that they don't lead to a dead end, because if they do, you're kind of fucked, because we only have 24 days left at this point. But we also learn that there's also like the prelude to the episode where it does the
Yes.
usual opening bit where they talk about how the drug started getting sold to kids because it's kind of like ecstasy, where if you don't feel any pain or anything, you can use it as like a feel good drug, basically. Similar to other opioids and other narcotics and things like that, where, hey, if you don't feel a lot of anything, you feel pretty good. You get a little loopy, have a little fun. And so that's where like the Sam Stevenson connection comes from, is because he's showing him like taking this drug on like Instagram reels and stuff and flexing his money. But it's also narrated by the hacker
Yes.
girl, I'm pretty sure.
Because every opening's been different since they started doing it.
Which kind of gets her
yeah.
connection to it, is that she has taken the drug, so she kind of needs to find a solution or she's gonna die.
Which I think we know they all have. I think
At some point,
I think
yeah.
Axel asked and everybody said, yeah, duh.
Yeah, Axel does make it like, okay, so he here.
It was kind of like a
has taken
catch-all
it.
drug, so I don't know why. It's like saying, have you taken penicillin? It's like, yeah, we all have. At some point.
But I think he just wanted to make sure that they were all in the same boat.
Yeah,
Because
all in the same boat.
realistically, if you're on this fucking strike team and you haven't taken it, you don't care as much
What's the
as someone
investment?
else.
Yeah, if it fails, who cares?
Yeah. I have lots to say about this episode. I'm just trying not to go first.
I mean,
This
that
episode is fine. Sorry, go ahead, Michael.
yeah, no, I mean that was about my kind of thing. Like it was fine. We do get to just see the four of them do stuff. They get to go do action movies. They get to go kind of do their thing. Get to see them. We get to just see interactions between the group. I think it's very funny that when they're entering the club, they split it to Axel and I don't remember
Chris.
any. Yeah, Axel and Chris, and then it's the Hamilton extra, and
Doug.
then yeah,
I can't believe his name's
Hamilton.
fucking Doug.
yeah Doug and the other one, the longer
Leland.
name. Yeah, Doug and Leland. Like I feel like that group fits better if you switch where Doug and Axel are.
Yes.
But it's infinitely funny to have Doug and Leland walk in together.
Yeah.
Again, I just like seeing the group do their stuff, seeing how all four of them kind of go about this a little differently. We also get to see Doug dancing or trying to dance. Like the way Axel kind of goes in, he goes, okay, tattoos, okay, got to do that. That's my thing. I'm gonna go get a tattoo to get us up there. Doug goes in, he tries to like get information. Leland hides because he doesn't like being in drag. Crazy. He doesn't want to be here doing this. And Chris goes, yeah, I'm just gonna go like pregame a little bit, try to maybe get some information from the bar. It's nice like seeing the four of them do their own thing here, and it all leads to them getting to where they need to be. They do kind of catch a really nice break, which is Leland just kind of gets. They're like, yeah, apparently like one of them is really into short girls that are like flat and not girls, but they don't know that yet. But that lets Chris kind of tag team off that to get up there. As Axel does his own thing on the side with the tattoos. I think it's just neat seeing these four do stuff. And also the hacker's off doing her own bullshit on the side. She's still spitting fucking nonsense, whatever. I just like seeing the four of them like do spy things. And also the chemistry between the four of them is really great. I think they're a really fun group to watch, this group of four now.
Mason, do you have more you want to talk about the episode or not really?
I mean, this episode was fun enough, and then it certainly did like the attempted rape thing, and that was not great because it didn't add anything to this show, in my opinion.
So my thoughts
we
on
already-
this. Sorry.
Go ahead.
My thought on that in particular is I feel like it's low-hanging fruit to just make the bad guys worse.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how I feel about that, and that wraps around to my large problem with this show, which I think is that there are lots of moments where its writing feels very uninspired and very generic. It sucks because the premise of this show is so cool, and I kind of like and I agree with Michael, I like the cast dynamic at times when they're together, but, like, the opening bit of this episode where they're, like, digging into Sam, and they do well, maybe he's not too bad. oh, he's the worst. Oh, he's the worst. Oh, that bit is so egregious to me. Like, I legitimately
agree.
rolled my eyes watching that. And the writing feels very, like,
Forced.
and someone could say, well, all of Sam's writing is supposed to feel not great because he's a nothing character. Like, he's meant to be just the generic bad guy. I think you are a good enough author and creator who has made some of the best things in the industry. You can do better than that.
Yeah.
Like, even if your point is, look, I'm good at writing the generic. I'm good at writing the throwaway, right? I am doing exactly what you can do for the genre. I don't like it. Like, I think it hurts the product. And, like, there's a lot of things in this episode that I feel that way about. They do the bit where the DJ comes through, and he's talking to Leland, and he's like, I don't even DJ anymore. The AI does it all. And on one hand, that could be really interesting if there was any further follow-up in conversation. Not doing it makes me go, you don't like AI, there's your AI jab for the show. And I think that's, like, I don't like AI. I don't. Like, as a creative, it sucks. Do better about, like, taking the AI. Don't take the easiest path to get, like, the pop culture jab. And that's what a lot of Lazarus is feeling like for me, which is why I have it so low. Is that I sit down and I watch the episode and I'm like, this feels like you put everything in a vial and said, how can we make this mainstream appeal? And a lot of this has come out of it. There are a couple of things that I do like about the episode that I think just come out of my interpretation of things. One, Axel's phenomenal. Because I think he has the most personality out of anybody, and he feels the most at home in what I feel like is trying to be done in the show. I enjoy I legitimately cannot express to you how much he pulled out that trait, the scanner. I knew he was going to go scan a tattoo, but I couldn't help but laugh at the idea and concept that he was gonna follow a guy and just skin the tattoo off of him. Because I think that's the funniest shit, is to follow a man to the bathroom and just steal his wrist.
Take his arm
skin.
off.
Yeah.
And he's holding the arm in his sleeve, just like,
Golden
yep.
Kamui just fucking attach. There is a bit that I think is supposed to be serious, but I can't help but laugh at, which is during the action sequence, which is largely a really cool action sequence. Doug goes and does a slide that he has no fucking momentum for, and it's the worst looking slide I've ever seen, where he just, like, knee glides across the floor. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I like the choreography for Chris and Axel. I wish it felt like there was a reason to do it besides Axel went, you know, it'd be really fucking cool. Woo!
If we did a little fucking dance.
Like, I think I think you could have had more moments that built up to that really cool moment with them, but they just do it, which is
Okay,
whatever.
but it was sick as hell, though. It was sick as hell.
I'm not a fan of the airplane jump because I think they let the helicopter jump because I think they let the helicopter get too fucking far away that it's unbelievable from a set piece
it's very
scene.
unbelievably
It's
far.
so fucking far away before he even starts running that I'm like, I can't believe
That's
this.
not how physics works, my guy.
I watched Axel do insane parkour and I can't buy this. I don't like that. Michael and I loosely talked about the idea. Odd choice, don't know how I feel about it yet, that you've split the hacker and the drone use character up. Strange.
Yeah, it's just a little.
I'm not exactly sure what Leland's whole thing is yet, because he has the oddest skill set of any human being ever. And I also think it's really odd to put Axel with a machine gun, have him pointed at them in the helicopter, to the point where it kind of feels like he's going, I'm gonna kill you. And I go, that's not at all what the plan is. And then he fires one bullet. He didn't need a machine gun. Give that man a pistol and he could have just fucking shot it down. I'm being very picky about things. But largely my critique is too much of the writing and the scenarios that pop up lately have been very uninspired for me, that it's kind of killing the mystique of what this show feels like it's supposed to be.
No, sure.
I really want to see an improvement from it. And I think the uninspired dub cast for like any background character is not helping me. Because the only people who ever feel relevant and important and I want to listen to are the main cast. Not counting the hacker, because I also don't want to listen to her talk.
Too bad. She's monologuing at the start.
That's fine. I like those bits. I think that's cool. That's like in the sphere of what I think the show is neat, is weaving this like additional narrative about the drug behind the scenes to like catch you up on the things from the past. That's really cool. That's really neat. Michael and I loosely talked about like, oh boy, we did the funny, and like we brought it up, but like oh boy, we did the thing that we knew was gonna happen, which was you can't find Skinner yet, so you have to get the runaround for 10 episodes worth of content before you can get there.
And then you get to the peak and you almost die, and he tells you, I don't even know why I did this anyways.
I feel like the solution to this problem is you be more frank in your writing, where you go, this is not going to lead us to Skinner, but this will take us down the path that will lead us to Skinner. If you say that, I have less of a problem with it. It's that every bit opens with, we have a lead on Skinner, and this will be the thing that takes us there.
From this like lead to Skinner. I agree. Where it's like,
we have gained nothing.
Yeah.
Give me a substantial like, hey, this leads to Skinner because XYZ. You know,
especially because it almost feels like you could have found the connection to this drug company probably without doing any of this. There is also
you can just see where the money's coming from.
There is also one shot in this episode that I think looks legitimately bad, and it's the first pan over to the casino, like the disco party hub, because it just looks really bad. I don't know how to explain it besides it just does. It almost looks really badly computer generated, I feel, compared to everything else that looks really nice in this show. But yeah, I mean, I won't say I'm still super interested in concept and premise, and I enjoyed the characters. So like, it's really hard to be like, I'm ready for this show to go. But I also don't care to some degree. Like, I really like other things more. Is kind of where I wind up falling.
Sure.
So, I'm hopeful, is what I will say. Maybe Outbreak references will make me feel better. Maybe. Okie dokie.
Maybe possibly.
Speaking of death, because Outbreak. It's witch time. Another witch.
Which two?
This week, we are following Meg, or as she is called this episode, Sperry, and Sophie, as Meg has to show her around town to get her ready for the festival. And we get some bits where the two of them talk. They talk about Meg's experience, which kind of seems like it falters in comparison to Sophie's. Sophie disguises her hair and her eyes so that she doesn't get caught out as being here. And Sophie's really interested in why Meg doesn't have a title yet. Because mages can get titles from just being successful. They don't have to be like big name. They can just be well known for something to get their title. And as they walk around the town and everybody says hi to Meg and recognizes Meg, they only ever refer to her as Faust's apprentice. And Sophie goes, that's your problem. It seems like you haven't done enough to separate yourself from her. And Meg responds pretty aptly, well, I am Faust's apprentice. It's kinda hard to not have that reputation. Which is a pretty fair take. We do a running bit here where Sophie does not call Meg by her name. She just calls her Sperry. And then it accumulates to a point that I think is a good bit, which is they do the correction enough times.
Yeah.
And then Sophie finally caves and calls her Raspberry, and Meg goes, it's Sperry! And she goes, fuck, she got me, fuck.
They did the duck season, rabbit season shit.
Yes, I think these two are really funny together. I enjoy their banter throughout the episode. During this conversation, Meg is like, you seem very indifferent to magic. Because she's like, I want to know how you got so good. And Sophie's response is, well, you have to learn about the magic, and you have to learn about science and physics and all the other things, and you put it all together, and you practice a lot, and it works. And Meg goes, I don't like that. That's a lot of... That's school. I don't like that. And she's like, but Sophie, you seem a little detached from everything. And so Sophie's like, yeah, I think all magic should cease to exist. And Meg goes, okay. And the same way that Meg earlier, Mason, you're muted. And the same way that Meg earlier, just kind of moves the conversation along from her going, by the way, Sophie, I'm an orphan. And Sophie goes, yeah, what? Okay, we're not cool. Sophie also goes, yeah, we're not gonna talk anymore about me wanting to destroy all magic and cease it from existing. So they go back home. They do a little bit of practice, I think, beforehand about trying to get the gate set up. She takes her there, shows it to her. Sophie essentially reveals that she's going to construct a larger gate so that more spirits can come through. And Meg expresses a little bit of worry that, like, that is not how Faust does it, which means that things could go wrong, and Faust isn't here to protect it from going wrong. And Sophie's like, nah, trust, I got this. And Meg goes, okay. And Meg actually does practice to make sure she can hold up the support she's supposed to do for the portal. They do return back to the house, and Sophie falls asleep like a peaceful child. To which Faust gives us a little bit of background about Sophie, that she was born in the cold north and is an Illisfiel character from Fate. And essentially because her entire family and town and everything around her outcasted her for being a powerful mage, she doesn't really like magic because magic kind of took everything she could have had, but she also likes magic because it's the only thing she does have. So she's in a convoluted spot. And Faust essentially goes, Meg, you can fix her. I believe in you. There is an earlier line in this episode. I cannot even tell you the setup to this bit. Fine shows up. I actually think it's about here. Fide shows up, and she's like, aren't you worried about not having Faust do the ritual? Like, sure, you have someone coming in as a replacement, but, like, how good could they be? And Sophie turns the corner, and Fide goes, oh my god, it's fucking Sophie. I'm gonna piss myself. And Meg goes, I'll clean that up for you. I'll lick that up for you. And Fide goes, what the fuck is wrong with you?
No, and everybody watching the show goes, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Because Meg is down bad atrociously. In all the wrong way. Meg looks at Inori last week and goes, damn, bitch, you smell. I ain't a fan of that. Also looks at Fine, I will drink your piss.
You smell, but
crazy direction we go. Yeah, apparently. I think Meg's fucking unhinged. I love her.
Yes.
There's a really small, nice bit in this episode where while she's thinking about Sophie and how she doesn't like magic, Meg thinks about all the things she has because of magic. And there's a bit where she's like, what would I be like if I didn't have magic? And her familiars, the carbuncle and the owl, are there, and they look really sad when she expresses that, and I think that's really cute. Because it's giving personality to these little creatures. And the carbuncle's emotions this entire episode are beautiful. Because it just reacts to everything going on anytime it's on screen, and I love it. If that carbuncle dies, I will kill everybody in sight. But so we head on out to do the actual set up the festival, and lo and behold, the support does not work, and a bunch of evil spirit energy flows through, and Meg is worried that it's about to attack people, and starts defending everybody so that she doesn't lose the things she loves to magic, while she buys Sophie time to rebuild the defenses of the barrier. After doing so, Meg fucking causes herself to get a nosebleed from extending so much power and putting so much strain on her body. And then Sophie essentially tells us afterwards she didn't have to do that. Things would have been fine. This is like a long-term problem. It just looked like it was gonna murder people. It wasn't actually gonna do that. And we find out that Meg covers for Sophie because in her mind it's easier for an apprentice mage to take the blame than for someone like her caliber. It's easier just to kind of wave it away, and it really wasn't a big deal. And then Sophie tells her to stop using honorifics for her and just to call her Sophie, and she'll just call her Meg, and now they're friends. Given the name of the next episode, I imagine we are clearly not done with the festival stuff. So while Megan makes zero progress again this week on her goal to not die, I imagine hopefully maybe we'll get something of that next week. That or this is a lie, and this premise has nothing to do with the show, and it won't matter in the end, and we're just here to have Meg chill with people for while doom lingers over her eternally.
I'm sure it's fine, guys.
I
Sophie was harshing vibes all episode, and I was like kind of worried that she was just gonna go a little bit like off the rails with this stuff in like a more evil direction than what it went with. Yeah, I don't know. What did you guys think of this episode in terms of like?
I liked it. I really
Everything.
enjoyed their dynamic. I think it is. I think the thing that stops it is that even from the beginning, I think it's clear that like Sophie kind of likes Meg and enjoys their interaction. And I think like there's an element of like as long as this all goes well, we don't have to worry about Sophie. Now, if things go poorly, like say if Meg were to die, I could imagine she might not be too happy about all that.
Yeah. Probably.
But I generally just enjoyed watching this episode, and I thought their interactions together were very cute and very good.
Yeah, and I had a good time with this episode. It is this is a very fun cast. I didn't realize we were just signing up for a harem show, but I guess that's what we're getting at this point.
Let's go.
Right?
Hello, Fine, my wife. This is Sophie, my second wife. Fine goes, no, to me or her. Stop that.
So good.
I do really like the like when you see the thing start failing, Meg immediately going into action, seeing Meg like actually do like some. I mean, we did see her do the flower thing,
some, like defensive magic and stuff.
Yeah, like she locks the fuck in. I'm like, damn, it's a good ass scene. And Sophie's like, damn, you did good. Anyway, here's the big shield now. But it's like, yeah, it was just really nice seeing Meg be like, oh fuck, I gotta like actually like do something. This is my job. And I'm not just kind of vibing.
I do actually do the magics sometimes. I don't just do errands.
Yeah. The show's really good when it wants to be, but unfortunately, it doesn't want to be all the time. Sometimes it wants to be a comedy, and sometimes it wants to be a harem comedy specifically. And I'll give it this: it made me like uncontrollably laugh for a second because of how out of pocket it was this week. But
Michael and I were watching it, and he's like, Sean, which of these conversations do you think the screenshot's gonna be? And he says this right as that line is delivered. I go, that one, Michael. It's that one. I'm like, I can tell you right now.
That's
Doesn't
the
fucking anything else can happen in this episode. It's fucking that one. And he clicks on it. He goes, yeah.
Yep. That's why I sent it.
I'm like, I
But
know.
nope.
I can tell exactly where Mason went. This too far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fine. The thing that I'm concerned about is like, I'm curious if it is going to end up just being not actually a real thing in the end. And I'm not sure how I would feel about it if it isn't, like, if she isn't actually cursed. Because we're not doing anything with this plot right now. We're just holding.
But it is hysterical every time someone brings up life and goals and aspirations, and the camera just pans down to her bottle and has not had any additional tears.
3 tears.
Meg is like, I care a lot about this city and the people in it, and it would be a shame to lose them.
And being alive, and you know, my childhood, and how are you gonna pass Faust? She's like, how am I gonna get through next fucking like summer? Like,
Yeah, because the issue with the whole issue that comes out of that whole thing is if it turns out that the curse was fake, when do you reveal that? And at no point does you revealing that ever feel good. Or is it like she gets to the end, she's halfway there, and then we have this like really big moment where like all 500 townspeople are like, "Oh, Meg, we're gonna miss you," and she gets the 500 tears she needs, and she's fine.
They're gonna die,
Like,
and then everyone
it's
starts
like-
crying.
I
It's
unfortunately think it's more likely.
Well, here's the problem, Michael. She needs tears of joy. So if she's gonna die, and then she
she's
collects all the tears, then are they happy? They're like, yes, finally, this
Yeah,
fucking
she's
idiot is
fucking
gone. Get the fuck
Nah.
out of here.
I think it's more likely that
Don't
we're
be happy
going
they're gone. Be
that we're
happy that they
going
were there.
to hit a
They're glad they're
crutch.
gone.
That is like
True.
Meg needs more time. How does she get more time? Her teacher's studying.
Faust goes
her
back in
teacher's
time.
Well, her teacher's been
Yeah.
studying time magic. She finds a way to
Why do you
stall,
think
to
she's
stall
studying
it.
time magic?
Yeah. I mean, clearly, because
Yeah.
Faust actually cares about her and thinks she's like an actual
No.
good mage.
No. Let's not be ridiculous, guys.
Yeah, Faust hates her and actually is the one who put the curse on her. I agree.
So get this bitch out of here.
Yep.
I do think there's
She's actually
like
studying time magic to make it happen faster.
there's a lot of
That would be so fucking funny.
Meg, every time you are horny, your clock speeds up, and Meg goes, "Oh fuck! How much time do I have? How much
Oh,
time
shit.
do
Oh,
I have
fuck.
left?" And
15
she
seconds.
dies. I do think there is like a I would like more from this show on like the expanding how its magic works and like what the world and how the magic interacts with it. Because like I get the feeling there is like this underlying thing of like magic is really powerful. It does all this crazy shit, but there is a limitation to what it can do to actually help the human body. Because like they make a point where it's like Faust is bedridden because of a bad back. You have to use like herbal medicine to help her. Why isn't there just magic to help her? Like it does seem like
What?
there is an element there
Cure wounds.
that
Come
we
on.
aren't talking about.
Cure wounds.
That's the restoration, maybe.
Yeah. I enjoyed this episode and I'm interested to give this show time to see what's up.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Strap in. Mason. I went to the Michael page. Give me a second. Mason.
So to be hero X. So this week's episode is kind of a culmination of what we've been building towards for the last 3 episodes, which is I'm blanking on his name. It's like
The Enlightener, and now he's God
The-
Eye.
God Eye, yeah. God Eye has taken Moon hostage, supposedly. We'll get to that. And he is on top of this skyscraper, and Lynn says Nice says he wants to go, but he can't, because his fans don't want him to go, and he can't disobey his fans' wishes. Well, he says fuck all that and goes anyways, powerless. He skates by the crowd. No one notices him because he loses his white hair. He gets there, gets the shit beat out of him by God Eye for a while he rambles on about how the whole hero system is a farce and blah blah blah. And then finally, some people start see him get the ever-loving shit beat out of him for 5 solid minutes. And finally, they start come on, man, get up, you can do it. Cheering him on. And he starts gaining power again. And eventually just goes full rage mode and starts just kicking the shit out of God Eye. And gaining more power than he probably should have access to based on how many fans he has. And eventually, he basically just knocks God Eye's teeth in and puts him down for the count. At which point he finds out that Moon wasn't there in the first place. It's just a robot that's hologrammed to look like Moon. Ends up still keeping the exact same spot he was at as Nice, but now he is able to live as himself, as Lin Ling, and not as Nice.
The commoner.
Yeah, the ordinary person.
But the official name he gets is the commoner.
Yeah.
Mhm.
after this, after everything settles down, we cut to Moon on the deserted island, where she is regretting her decisions. She is not a fan of this, and she realized that she fucked up by not bringing the gun with her. And suddenly, Lynn shows up, and they have this cute little scene of like her, like being excited to see him excited to see her. And then she gets shot
Bang!
in the head.
Again.
Again. And that's how we cut the episode.
Well, we get revealed who shoots her, and then we get cliffhangered with there is a tournament coming.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I forget who shoots her.
We don't know him.
Somehow.
We don't know him.
Yeah,
He's just a dude.
just a random dude. But yeah,
There's some
this is fucking
this
great.
episode.
yes, there's some things we didn't touch on, and of course we didn't. We get to meet Blankster here, who is a boxer who blanks people's memories. This is dope as fuck.
He's so
Um,
cool.
And God,
Guys, that's not called blanking. That's not a superpower. That's
That's
just called CTE. That's just CTE. Like
They don't
it's
gotta
just-
know.
He just gives
They
them a
don't.
concussion. That's all it is.
But with Blankster, we get introduced to the idea that him and Nice are both a part of the Treeman group of heroes, which implies that there are like hero agencies that like build them up and market them. And we see this again when Lin comes out as himself, because there are people, lots of people, who are like, okay, I want this guy. I want this guy to be ours. Who is he? What are his powers? Like, tell us everything we can, and then let us get a hold of him. And that's a really interesting thing to expand on for the world that I really liked coming from this episode.
Mhm.
God, the OST. This song
God,
rules.
yes.
This song
It's so
rules.
good.
Poor Moon, bro.
Yeah.
But the worst thing is, like, I don't even know if the show's gonna address it again, and if it's just gonna redux it, or if it's like, is this
I
just
think it
her
will.
dream? Is this actually something that's happening?
I think it will, because her death pose is the exact same as the one he saw when he came into the apartment, which means that, like, there's clearly
Why did he
something
see
going...
that?
Exactly. So, like, we have to touch on it. Like, I have theories and guesses, and that is that I think a lot of things are being orchestrated by someone with the ability to do so, perhaps a hero, to, like, set up this tournament to get, like, worthwhile foes. Because I have the idea that, like, someone is able to give people visions of
Maybe,
the
like,
future and try
clairvoyance or
to
something.
influence them. Yeah. And like they're trying to specifically to get Lin to the point where he is ready to fight in this tournament. That's my guess. That's my long haul fucking shot in the dark. Because I have to imagine there's a reason you do the premonition and then show it this way, where you make sure we know that he saw this exact thing coming but didn't know why. I also think we're not following Lin next episode.
That's what I got from the description as well, and that's what's gonna annoy me the most. Is if
even-
it goes somewhere else.
Even without it, even like without looking at the stuff coming up, just the feel of this episode feels like, okay, you've capped off this story. You've set up that we're going to a tournament. It's time to change gears.
Yeah.
And to
Um,
meet the rest of the competitors.
And this is a 24 episode show, so like
Tournament arc.
you can do like 4 or 5 of these, and then the tournament arc, maybe 3 or 4, and then the tournament arc, and have like a cast built up for it that you care about.
Mm-hmm.
This episode's so fucking cool.
It's just sick.
Yeah, again, the entire fight is done so well. The one he immediately getting his shit rocked. The visuals they have for the fight, some of the even like specifically at PAX, like you hear the crowd cheering for him as he goes in for the headbutt. That starts off the like, okay, Lin's finally like on the offensive here. The fucking punch where he misses and then drags his arm through like actual 15 feet of solid steel to try to punch God Eye. This show is
the-
just fucking awesome.
The animation change into the stylistic shot of when he hits God Eye and the zoom out of that being the thing displayed on the monitors in that kind of art style just looks so fucking sick the whole way through.
Right.
There is also the bit, and to me this adds to the theory that someone's orchestrating it. Someone puts on his ad about the To Be Hero X,
Yeah.
which nobody in the agency had any that we know of had anything to do with, because they were like, this was the thing that was in your mailbox today, and she's like, no, that was in the trash because it was bad, and Lynn's like, hey, I made that. But the scene works so fucking well with it. You wrap this collective story around to the thing that started it, about anyone being a hero, and then you build Lynn up to be that It works so fucking well. It's executed perfectly.
Show's just
Show good.
peak. That's sick.
Yeah, man, I don't have too much to say about it. Like, the show's just awesome. Like,
It's hard to
it makes
talk
you
about. It's hard to talk about it when it's just so good to watch. Like, you should
it's
just
always
watch
so good
it.
to have someone to like that main character. That's like, even you're like, yeah, I want to root for this guy. Actually,
Yeah.
he's sick.
Mhm.
He's actually a good dude. The character.
I think it's sick as fuck that God Eye is looking at him and his sensors like he's vulnerable everywhere. He's fucking you
He's
could
so
find
vulnerable.
you
Like,
could
just
find
fucking-
so many weak points you could exploit and you don't know how because that's the point.
Choice paralysis.
It's almost like when you're not faking it and you're not and the vulnerabilities don't matter. It doesn't matter how many you have.
Damn, Sean, that's deep.
That's the show. I didn't. They wrote that, not me.
Wow, how'd you come up with that one, Sean?
Crazy.
Also, again, I also I like when we get like that's what his like power is as God Eye is the vulnerability goggles,
Yeah.
because like you see him fighting
Blankster.
fucking forget it, yeah,
Fox Man.
Blankster earlier, and you're like, okay, Blankster like gets a hit in and then he misses the hit and then God Eye goes, oh, I get it now, and you're like, what the fuck do you mean you get it now? And the idea is like he sees a vulnerability there, which isn't just, oh, like you can dodge the punch this way. It is, I see in the internet that you cheated. Like that
Yeah.
whole thing immediately comes to like that's what he gets. That's his vulnerability. I think that's a super fucking cool thing. I think it's also gone now. He's gone. He cooked.
He done.
I
But it
also
was really neat to like get that.
I think the PR side of things are really cool here, of like trying to see how they maneuver and what like their course of action is to go with, because like the smart PR move is you let Nice go if you could, you can't, right? But you give him a mic, you let him talk and respond, and realistically what you do is you let him tell his story because he's genuine. He's a genuine person as Nice. That like if you are going to try to let this play out in your favor, you let him explain why he did what he did for Moon, and you win his fans over because they don't care. They believe him, like they do. And if he explains that Moon was trapped and that he cared enough to let her go, that's all you need. They'll fucking let him go. He can go save her. Easy. Done. But like,
Mhm.
you don't do that because that's not a risk you could take. Like, you aren't going to trust the guy to deliver that kind of like his acting's good, but do you trust him to win over all these people when you have to be unsure about internet opinion and gossip? I think it
Mhm.
says a lot that Blankster gets outed with one news article, and the you could argue the level of this man cheated with brass knuckles in an athletic event resonates and is so believable to people that he just immediately fucking loses his ability to fight. Whereas like God Eye went, yeah, Nice lied to you. That isn't really Nice. Moon is not dead. And that cannot sway enough people yet. Because it's so ingrained in them.
They're like, there's no way my guy could be bad. Like, he's my guy. What? Like,
It's even a level of like, you see there's enough fans who are like, I actually don't care that Moon's alive and they faked it. Because I believe in Nice. Like, it's almost like they're saying, he must have had a reason. That doesn't mean he's not nice or that he's not who he is. Like, there's even an argument that that some of them are probably like, well, that's Moon's problem, not his. She shouldn't have faked her death, because a lot of them believed his genuine performance about her death. That to them, it can't be that Nice faked it, it had to have been that Moon did it without him knowing. Because he sold it so fucking well.
It's just so cool. Let's see here.
Oh, right up thing I thought of. Funny thing I saw on Twitter back when this was like episode like 3 or 4 had just come out, and they're just like, best part about To Be Hero X gotta be that it's an original, so there's no fucking random manga readers. Every time you say
Spoiling
anything,
shit
going,
out of it.
hey, I like this girl. Don't like that character too much, just so you know. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Shut the fuck up. Let people enjoy the goddamn story. Oh my god.
You do have to be careful, and we do have to be careful, that this is a show gaining traction. And because we are engaging with it at any level at all,
Spoilers will be everywhere.
algorithm is going to feed you YouTube shorts and stuff, and you have to just avoid it because we are going to be behind pacing wise. Because I certainly have been, YouTube has certainly been trying to feed me content about To Be Hero, and I just have to dodge it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have the results in here.
Mm-hmm.
The shows that are completely safe: No Slays, Cinderella Grey, Vigilantes, Witch Watch, Rock is a Lady's Modesty. That's crazy, by the way. To Be Hero X. Shows that have a slay: Mono, Gundam, Once Upon a Witch's Death. The show with 2 slays: Lazarus. The show with full slays, Your Forma. Who could have seen it coming?
Crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have killed the NES. It is
Into the
dead
trash.
here live on stream. I'm not surprised by it. This just makes me want to show you guys It Invaded more. Because like It Invaded's cool, and its soundtrack is also just by Miyavi, so like it just slaps the entire time. But yeah, that'll be that. We'll watch episode 5s for our remaining 9 shows. Mason now remains the only person with all 3 of his shows.
We're going back to basics.
I mean, John
You said
also.
all 3 of your shows. You could have said all of your shows, and I would have felt better.
Well, no, because then he wouldn't be the only person. You still have all of your shows, John.
Exactly, and I wanted that dub.
Yeah, I
Suck.
didn't want to give it to you. We bully John
Damn.
this season.
Always.
And then Austin will come back and we'll let Austin bully John. And the rest of us will back off a little bit. Look, Mason has a lot of pent-up frustration for every time you talk over him.
It's been happening for like 10 years at this point.
Exactly, that's a lot of
That
frustration.
hurts my brain, Mason. I need you to
I-
stop.
I know.
Hey,
John.
hey, did you know you're old?
I'm old. I'm gonna get older.
Do you feel it in your
Every
bones
day.
yet?
I do, bro. My back has been hurting for like a week because I did the grass.
Dude, I slept on my neck wrong for one night, and it fucked my entire world up for 2
It
straight.
ruined your entire week, right? Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
I did manual labor yesterday, and so my body shot. We broke up our sidewalk, and I had to move all the stones and rubble.
Ooh.
Oh,
and-
sick.
And so all the small stuff we moved, we put into empty litter containers. And I had 2 litter containers that I carried like this down a hill, like I was doing some like fucking Buddhist training where I had
Like
the,
workout, yeah.
where like I had like the stick, but instead of this, which is probably better on like the shoulders a little bit, it was like this, and I'm just going downhill with this multiple times with tons of weight. And despite me clearly going to my family, hey, you need to cut off the amount of stuff in these containers at the halfway mark. They went, but what if every once in a while we went over it? And I went, motherfuckers, I'm going to kill you.
More.
And then they actively looked at me and they said, you actually aren't allowed to help with anything else besides carrying these buckets because that's already a lot of work. And I went, okay, at least I'll give you that. And they
Fair
said, you know what's gonna hurt tomorrow? Your back. You know what hurts today? My fucking shoulder blades.
Everything.
And then at work, I had 2 barrels of oil, like smaller barrels, that I lifted the exact same way. I went, nope, bad, idea.
See, Sean, that's what I did. Except I literally just mowed my lawn and
Yeah.
my back hurt, like because I was bagging it. So I had to like take a bit of grass and dump it here, take a bit of grass,
Mhm.
dump it there, and then I did that over 2 days. And after the first day, my back hurt, and then I went and did it again on my larger back lawn, and that was lame. And now my spine regrets its choices of existing.
No. I
But
guess I
say
will.
love you.
I guess I will do this before we close out. If you are interested at all, I will be streaming over on my other channel, which is linked on this channel, I believe. And if it's not, it's in the description of this channel because it's under my social stuff. And that is where I do my D&D stuff. And Thursday we'll be streaming D&D again, as we are getting ever closer to the end of the Eva Ruin module, the Vecna Eva Ruin module. We are in our last major location before, like, you are on the path to Vecna, which is we are in Avernus. Nothing bad has happened in Avernus, but let me catch you up real quick.
That's what I've heard.
Let me catch you up real quick. We arrived in Avernus and met some devils who were our only way to cut down our 30-hour trip to the location we were going through Avernus, and so we decided to assist them in fighting a devil that had 3 other devils in a tent on its back, who were trying to sacrifice a unicorn to summon a Baylor. We
A
got
lot of D&D words.
Yes, we got there, only to find out that the devil with the tent on its back, filled with other devils, had been enlarged by magic, and that instead of trying to summon one Baylor, sacrificing the unicorn was going to summon every single Baylor to the location we were at. And so after helping these devils, our paladin does the actual correct choice here and goes, I'm not going to let the other devils take the unicorn. I'm going to banish the unicorn out of Avernus. To which is a bad call because, then we have to fight the other devils. Things turned out okay, and then they got really bad because we encountered an imp on the road, and our fighter went, yo, this imp's kind of cool, what if I made him my friend and servant? And the imp went, cool, you want to take me out of Avernus? He went, yeah. And he goes, now you are legally bound to take me out of Avernus, and to do so, you must beat my master in gladiatorial combat. So we are actively, as a party, getting ready to send our fighter into a one-on-one combat with a Dark Empyrean.
That'll be fine.
No, it won't. They have 30 strength.
Yeah, play good.
And the rest of us,
better.
the rest of us have to go to a casino to earn enough money and clear challenges to get the rod piece we need to then go fight Vecna and Kas, because that has to happen too. So if you want to watch some shenanigans in the 9 Hells, specifically the 9th level, you can join us Thursday for that. Well, surely things are only gonna go well, and that's my plug. The only one I'll ever do.
That's not true. Don't believe him.
I mean, I'll probably plug the new campaign when we start it, but that won't be till like July, because we should be done by then. But that is everything, everybody. Have a great night. We will see you sometime next week.